USA, Romania, and Canada in a battle for world hockey supremacy. Vienna 77, brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Breweries and General Motors of Canada Limited. This is the one the world watches.
This is a tournament of amazing comebacks. The Czechs, the Swedes, the Soviets, and the Canadians. But nobody has bounced back quite like the Canadians. Hello again, everybody. I'm Johnny Esau, along with Bill Stevenson, Tom Watt, and Bernie Pascal at the World Championships in Vienna. And speaking of comebacks, we're looking for the biggest one of all time with Canada against Russia tonight, Bill.
Johnny, I don't know who's writing the script for this, but they're doing a great job thus far. If they keep it up, this is going to be maybe the greatest tournament Canada's ever been in, including 1972, because it would be so unexpected. Just about a half an hour ago, the Czechs defeated the Swedes 2-1, and that's the best thing that could have happened for Canada, because it means if Team Canada can beat the Russians, and it would be an upset tonight, then Sunday, it will be Canada and Czechoslovakia playing for a gold medal. And what greater wind-up could you have than that?
Well, you know, the Soviets have lost 2 games in a row. Canada has been coming on stronger and stronger, looking like a hockey team that's played together for a while. Johnny Wilson has learned a lot of tricks. He's been up here, looking at tapes and films all day long, studying it, and the vast improvement between the lines, the team, and the coach is absolutely amazing in the short period of time that these people have had to work together.
Well, the thing that gets me is the way this team has come together, but the spirit of the club. You know, each game they think they're better, and they now feel that they can defeat the Soviet Union. There's been a lot of adverse publicity about the Canadian team. It's been written and spoken by the press, and this is go to them on, and we'll talk about that during this game. If you take a look at the standings, you can see what will happen now. These are the standings that come about as a result of the victory by the Czechs over Sweden 2-1. And what it means simply is this. If Canada wins tonight, they will play the Czechs for the gold medal Sunday morning, and the loser of that one would gain at least a bronze. As a matter of fact, they would have a chance for a silver. But if Russia wins, it means the best that Canada can possibly finish with a victory over the Czechs on Sunday would be a bronze medal. So that's what they're shooting for, Johnny.
So the exact number of points then, just to review those quickly, Bill?
Mm-hmm. The exact number of points, as we have them going right into this one, was in 13 points. We have Czechoslovakia, we've got Russia and Sweden with 12, we've got Canada with 11, and this is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
Ralph, they had the wrong points. Ralph, they mentioned the wrong points. They said Czechoslovakia had 13, they have 15. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
They're just lining up to start off right now.
Welcome back to the Stadthalle in Vienna, Austria, and the crowd is going mad here tonight, waiting this game between the Soviet Union and Canada, and the official salute prior to the game is underway. The first period is coming up, and this is World Championship Hockey on CTV. Hello, Ralph.
Hello, Ralph.
Referee for tonight's game is Raimo Seppänen of Finland. The two linesmen are Kaisla from Finland and Toman from Holland. The referee, Seppänen from Finland. Canada into this game with 5 wins, 1 tie, and 2 defeats. The Soviet Union, 6 wins, no ties, and 2 losses. Phil Esposito will start at center ice for Canada. Puck is dropped, cleared over to the far side. Greg Smith is checked by Mikhailov. And the puck goes over the boards into the Team Canada bench. And that took 4 seconds. You can feel the excitement high up in the rafters here at the Stadthalle in Vienna. A capacity crowd witnessing this game as Sagankov clears the puck into the corner. Dennis Kearns goes in after it. Up with the puck. Knocked down in front. Karlamov over to Ralph Klassen. That was knocked down, and Dennis Kearns has it inside his own blue line again for Canada. It stopped outside the blue line. Ronnie Ellis tried to get it. It's fired in. Tretiak stops it. In after it is Sagankov. Checked by Ellis. The puck goes loose. Klassen goes after it, but he couldn't control it. And the Soviets come back with Harlamov on the right side. Over the line. Mikhailov breaks for the goal. The pass is knocked down in front by Dennis Kearns. Ellis takes the pass on the right side in on goal, and Tretiak kicks that out. At the blue line and out. Phil Esposito, and we have a penalty coming up. A penalty to Canada.
Well, here we see the Canadian bench. They're quite upset by the penalty to Young Smith. He took a charge of Petron.
From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. A cross-checking penalty to Greg Smith of Team Canada. The Soviets on the power play, and this is Shadrin. Pass on the left side for Yakashev, and Karl Vatne scooped it over the glass and out of play as McKechnie and Shadrin exchange a few words.
Well, one of the things that Team Canada has to do tonight is that they've got to stay out of that penalty box, because in the first game with the Soviet Union, the Soviet power play was very, very powerful.
Puck goes back to Babanov inside his own line for the Soviets to Yakashev. He can't control it. It's taken by Pronovo at the side of the Soviet goal. Spins around, drops it into the corner. Canada's a man short. And holding it against the board, Shadrin finally knocked it loose. Pass on the far side. The Soviets on the attack. Maltsev takes it over the line, but he was stopped. Yakashev goes back, feeds it over to Luchenko. And he lets it slide to Shadrin, back to Luchenko. Soviets on the attack on the left wing side. Shadrin goes after it. Broken up, carried on by Luchenko into the corner. Karl Vatne runs into the Soviet player. Maltsev then bumps Vatne. Puck is held against the boards, knocked loose, and taken by John Pronovo. Pronovo of Team Canada clears it down. And we have 39 seconds remaining in the penalty to Greg Smith. There's no score early in the opening period. Vasilia. Easton goes back inside his own blue line for the Soviets. Up on the left wing side, Kapustin then returns the pass in behind his own goal. Dallas Smith stops it, leaves it there for Hampton. And Hampton just scoops it into the corner. Puck was knocked ahead with a glove, and referee calls the play dead. Sepin in the official, with the faceoff coming back into the Soviet zone as the Soviet player knocked it ahead.
Well, our Team Canada up for this game, there was really no sense to put a bench down for them to sit down when they had the rest, because everybody's on their feet no matter what's happening out there on the ice.
Face off to the right of Tretiak. Phil Esposito lost the draw. The puck goes in behind the net. And we have 9 seconds remaining in Greg Smith's penalty as Kapustin winds up. Up to center ice. He has Vasiliev on the left. Drops it back to Vasiliev. The shot is stopped by Tony Esposito. And the penalty to Greg Smith expires. So Canada successfully killing off that 2-minute minor infraction. Czechoslovakia earlier tonight defeated Sweden 2-1. Czechoslovakia is in first place with 15 points. The Soviets and Sweden tied for second with 12, and Canada has 11. Face off to the right of Tony Esposito. Number 22 for the Soviets is Lutov. Merrick will take the face off for Canada. It's cleared on the opposite side. Al McAdam goes after it. Back to Vadnais. Up on the right side for Pronovo. He just scoops it out to center. Going after the puck is Merrick, and he couldn't handle it. Goes inside the Soviet line. Kapustin brings it out to Balderas. He's dumped on the far side. Another Canada penalty as Balderas was upset by Phil Russell. No score early in the first period from Vienna. This is World Championship hockey.
Nummer 23, Mikulášov gegen Banstens. 2 minutes penalty for number 23, Raslov, Canada, for drinking.
Welcome back to the Stadthalle in Vienna. Bernie Pascal, Tom Watt, as we're ready for this face-off to the left of Esposito. Puck is cleared over. McKechnie then slaps it off the boards down the ice, and going back for it is Fedosov. Fedosov just bounced it off the boards to Petrov. Back to Fedosov. The Soviets on the power play. Russell in the penalty box. McKechnie goes on the far side, bumps with Sagankov, and the puck is slapped back into the Soviet zone. Fedosov just left it there for Petrov right in front of his own goal. Petrov up the middle for the Soviets, watched by McKechnie. Harlamov on the left side, couldn't take the pass. Puck is dropped back to the line of Fedosov, lets it go, kicked out, the rebound is taken at the side. And Mikhailov just failed to send that home. McKechnie in the corner, watched by Harlamov, and the puck is cleared down the ice. And we've played 4 minutes and 8 seconds here in the opening period. There's no score. Canada a man short, 1 minute remaining in the penalty to Russell. Soviets on the attack. On the left wing is Mikhailov into the corner, dumps it in front, a shot, scores! Sagankov. Sagankov puts the Soviets ahead with a power play goal.
Well, Petrov made the play, keeping possession of the puck, making a good move at the blue line, slipping the puck through to Mikhailov. Mikhailov drives in deep, looks back into the high slot to Sagankov, shoots all in one motion, doesn't wait, and the puck goes by Tony Esposito.
Sagankov from Mikhailov.
Here we have Petrov again, over to Mikhailov. Mikhailov looks back into the slot. You notice that Sagankov doesn't wait or set the puck up. He shot all in one motion.
Soviets leading 1-0. Dallas Smith in the corner, just scooped it outside his own blue line. Yakashev has it for the Soviets, watched by Wilf Paymont. Paymont takes him out of the play. Luchenko to number 19, Shadrin. And it's back to number 2 for Canada. That's Hampton. To Dallas Smith. Watched by Maltsev. Babanov ran into his check at center. Over the line goes Maltsev. Checked by Hampton. The puck is loose. And it's covered up by Dallas Smith. And Canada comes back. On the left side is Eric Bale. Faked the shot and just cleared it into the corner. Soviets come back with Yakashev. He's stopped. Back in for Canada is Bale in front to LaRouche. Here's a chance for Paymont. And it's stopped by Tretiak. Coming back is Babanov to Shadrin. Shadrin over the line. And covering up is Hampton in front of his own goal for Canada. Hampton up the left wing side to LaRouche. He can't reach it. And it's icing against Canada. 1-0, the Soviets leading. On a goal by Sagankov. And there's the veteran Vasiliev, number 6.
While he's been hurt, he didn't practice yesterday. He's had a very good series. Here we have the replay again of LaRouche all by himself and the sprawl being made by Tretiak. The Soviet defenseman Babanov coming to clear the puck.
Well, Paymont in on top of the goaltender, and the trailing player was Pierre LaRouche, and Canada just failed to tie it up there. This is Vadnais in behind his own goal. Into the corner. Both teams are at full strength. The puck cleared to the Canadian blue line. McAdam just gives it to Vadnais, and he clears it in off the boards. Into the corner. Puck bounces away. McAdam goes in to help out. Runs into Vasiliev. There's a shot. Tretiak stops it. The puck is loose. A backhander. The rebound taken by McAdam. Puck is still loose, and they swing away. It comes back to the line, and the Soviets come out. Kapustin at center ice. On the right side to Balderas, and he's stopped, and Vadnais just clears it out. A break for Canada, but that pass just failed to materialize as Kapustin brings it back. Two players collide. Kapustin runs into Bill Russell. Merrick on the left wing side, tripped by Vasiliev. And there's a penalty coming up for the Soviets, and that shot is taken by McAdam. And a delayed call coming up here. Also, there was an offside, but also the referee had his arm up. And he's signifying now a tripping call to Vasiliev.
Well, he was very slow calling that penalty at first. I didn't believe that he was going to call it. He took his time. And then there was a great uproar from Team Canada bench, but Vasiliev certainly did dump the Canadian player. There he is sitting in the box.
6 minutes and 24 seconds, the time of the penalty. 1-0, the Soviets leading Canada. Phil Esposito gets it back to Greg Smith. Smith then leaves it for Esposito. Canada on the power play. Esposito inside his own line, coming up to center. Out there with Klassen and Ellis, and he clears it into the corner. Sagankov goes in against Klassen. Klassen in front. There's a shot. Back to the line to Greg Smith. Lets it go. Scores! Canada has tied it up. The shot by Greg Smith was slapped in front.
Well, Klassen did a good job hustling in, making sure he got possession of the puck, throwing it right out. There's the first shot. Goes back to the point. Here's the shot from Smith. All the traffic in front of Tretiak. I believe Ellis did tip it, and it went by Tretiak for the goal. But Klassen was in there to be first on the puck, and that's what Team Canada has to do. They have to get in and gain possession of that puck in the Soviet end and control it in there. They weren't doing that in the first game.
A 1-1 tie, power play goal for Canada, credited to Greg Smith. Puck cleared in behind the Canadian goal, but it's offside. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. We played 7 minutes here in the opening period. It's a 1-1 tie. Yakashev in the corner, back to Babanov. He clears it and it bounces wide. Esposito steered it into the corner as it went by the net. Canada with Rick Hampton. He's stopped by Maltsev. Maltsev with Yakushev behind the net, takes it around the side, and no one there to tap it home. Luchenko moves in. He's checked by Hampton, a bouncing and rolling puck at the side, covered up by Tony Esposito. As the players give Maltsev a going over, that's Paymont. And Maltsev at the side of the goal. Eric Vale, number 28 for Canada.
Well, Tony Esposito alertly just jumped on that puck and killed it to get the face-off, and he's been playing better and better with each game, and looks like Coach Wilson is going to go with him the rest of the series. But he has played very well in the nets for an improved Team Canada.
7 minutes and 27 seconds have been played in the opening period, a 1-1 tie. Sagankov has scored the goal for the Soviets. They credited the Canada goal to Smith, but it might have been tipped by Ronnie Ellis. But there has been no official change on the goal as yet. Into the corner goes Hampton, watched by Shadrin. Off the board, Shadrin left it there. Yakushev in behind the Team Canada goal. Right in front, and that shot just went wide as Maltsev let it go. Paymont up on the right side to Eric Vale. Vale lost the puck, and covering up is Luchenko. Shadrin races forward on the right wing side. Over the Team Canada line, Shadrin is checked, and the Canadian player Pierre LaRouche banned on his pass. LaRouche has it. Left it there for Vadnais, and Vadnais brings it out. Shadrin checks him, and the puck goes over on the left side with Babanov of the Soviets. Right in front of his own goal. Shadrin collided with Wilf Paymont. The puck is right to Tony Esposito, and he clears it over to Merrick, and there's a hooking penalty coming up. I believe it's Carol Vadnais. With 11 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the opening period. Vadnais picks up the third Team Canada penalty.
Well, it was very difficult to get that signal. I don't know whether he called the hook or whether he called the spear or what it was, because it was rather an indefinite signal, but that was behind the play, and the two goals that have been scored this evening, both have been power play goals, and it's very important. Team Canada's just got to stay out of that box. They can't afford, not only does it hurt you on the scoreboard, but it takes away from their offensive momentum if they have to continuously kill these penalties.
A spearing call to Carol Vadnais, plus a 10-minute misconduct. A 10-minute misconduct, and Vadnais obviously upset. Rod Gilbert goes over to the penalty box now to serve the minor infraction handed to Vadnais. All this happening at 8:22 of the opening period. A 1-1 tie. Soviets with Glukov set for this face-off. Puck comes back to the line to Pervukin. Pervukin has it. Sets it up to Vasiliev, and that's stopped by Esposito. Craig Smith then clears it outside the line and down the ice. And going back for it for the Soviets is Pervukin. In behind his own goal, chased by McKechnie. Comes in front, gives it to Zlukov. Zlukov over to Kapustin over the Team Canada line. He stops, drops it back, but it's intercepted by McKechnie. Up with Pronovo. McKechnie circling inside his own line. And then clears it up to Pronovo. Pronovo at center ice as Team Canada's a man short. Back to Dennis Kearns. Kearns inside his own line, watched by Zlukov. Then clears it off the boards down the ice. 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining in the minor penalty to Vadnais. Soviets come back. Mikhailov straight down the middle to the Team Canada line, dropped it over, takes the pass back to Harlamov. Harlamov is checked, and Ronnie Ellis has the puck ahead to Klassen. Klassen at center, back to Ellis, but he can't reach it. And covering up is Fedosov. Ellis gets to the puck first. Into the corner, tied up by Fedosov. Still fighting for possession. Fedosov falls. In to help out is Klassen. Klassen then collides with the Soviet player Fedosov. Vasiliev to Mikhailov. Over the Team Canada line. Hampton watches him. Back to Vasiliev. On the side to Fedosov. Lets it go, and Ellis stopped that. Fedosov into the corner to Mikhailov. Back to the line. Here's a chance for Fedosov. Lets it go, and Ellis again blocked that shot. 9 seconds remaining in the Team Canada minor penalty. Fedosov on the left side, clears it out. Mikhailov goes after it, and Rick Hampton clears it down the ice. And Team Canada is back at full strength as Rod Gilbert steps on the ice.
Team Canada doing a very good job of killing off that penalty, but Fedosov, who we see, young Fedosov, 24 for the Soviet Union, who is playing on the point, is replacing the veteran Gusev, and Gusev was benched during the game with Sweden that the Soviets lost this week 5-1, and Gusev, one of their veterans, has been put on the bench. They're not using him very much, and they're using some of their younger defensemen tonight.
9 minutes and 34 seconds remain in the opening period. LaRouche against Shadrin. The puck comes back to Yakashev. He lost it. Dennis Kearns to Paymont. Paymont going in with Bale into the corner. Bale takes the puck right in front and is deflected over the top of the net by Paymont. Both teams are at full strength. The Soviets come back with Shadrin, a long shot, and that's over the Team Canada net. Bale into the corner. Off the boards to Kearns. Kearns has trouble with it, goes back in behind the net. Watched by Yakashev, comes straight out in front, then lost the puck, but Greg Smith covers up. Smith ahead to Bale on the left side. Paymont going down right wing. There's a long shot, and that misses the Soviet net, comes all the way to center, where Dennis Kearns has it. 8 minutes and 49 seconds remain in the opening period. Greg Smith takes the pass from Kearns and clears it into the Soviet zone. Babanov to Luchenko. Luchenko to Yakashev. Left it there for Babanov, coming up for the Soviets. A long shot, and that missed the Team Canada net. Dallas Smith around the boards to McAdam. Up to Wayne Merrick. He's checked by Babanov, and there to pick up the puck is Pervukin. Inside his own line to Luchenko. 8 minutes and 17 seconds remaining. A 1-1 tie in the opening period. Luchenko. Merrick broke his stick. Gives the puck out to Balderas. Over the Team Canada line, slashed by Dallas Smith. The puck comes back. Here's a chance for Kapustin, and his weak shot was wide of the Team Canada goal. Pronovo goes in behind the net. Drops it over to Phil Russell. Russell coming back for Canada. Up with Merrick. Clears it into the corner. Hit Babanov. Merrick and Babanov collide. The puck goes loose. They try to get it loose. And Vasiliev clears it off the boards. Here's Russell, his shot, stopped by Tretiak. And the Soviets bring it out again with Babanov. Pass on the far side, Luktoff let it go, it's Balderas. Balderas dropped it back, there's a shot into the corner, cleared in front, and covering up is McAdam. As Pronovo lost his helmet as he collided with Balderas. Puck cleared back into the Soviet zone with Vasiliev. 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining as Kapustin takes the pass. Kapustin is checked by Phil Russell, and they hold it there for a whistle. A 1-1 tie, and from Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. Seven minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the opening period, a 1-1 tie. Puck inside the Team Canada line. Mikhailov in there with Petrov, but bringing it out is Esposito to Klassen. Over the line, but they're stopped there by Sagankov. Greg Smith has it for Team Canada. Gets by Mikhailov, then run into the Soviet player Petrov. Sagankov then ran into the Canadian player, and the puck is cleared to an open wing. A 1-1 tie, Fedosov to Yakashev. Rather, Mikhailov to Harlamov. In over the Team Canada line, watched by Klassen. Harlamov drops it back. Sagankov, shot! Esposito kicks that out. Phil Esposito takes the puck. Runs into Petrov. Alice goes in to help out. Alice tries to get the puck and then falls on it for a whistle. Reminder, the telecast of this game is presented solely for the interest of our viewers under copyright of Arthur Harnett Enterprises Limited. Any use of this telecast without express written consent is strictly prohibited. lot of people have helped make a long and difficult series here a great deal easier for all of us. I'm referring to the Air Canada people who have extended every courtesy on both sides of the Atlantic, not only to Team Canada, but also Team CTV. Petrov in the penalty box. With 6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Esposito also in the penalty box as they go off. Luchenko goes back in behind his own goal, watched by Paymont. Puck comes to Greg Smith. Into the corner, Paymont takes it. Maltsev checks him. Back to the line. And it's cleared in behind the Soviet goal. Paymont right in front. There's a shot. And it's knocked down in front by defenseman Babanov. Hampton to Paymont in front. Russell goes after it. And covering up is Babanov, and the Soviets come back again. Maltsev in over the line. Yakashev breaks for the goal. That shot goes wide. Babanov has it in the corner. Checked by LaRouche, but gets away from him. Maltsev at the side. His shot. And Tony Esposito makes the save.
Well, there we have the type of goaltending that Team Canada has to get from Tony Esposito, because Yakashev walked right out of the corner. He had Maltsev off the side of the net. The Team Canada defenseman made sure that Maltsev was tied up, but Yakashev had enough room to move right in front of the net to get his opportunity. But Tony Esposito making a very good stop on the play.
A 1-1 tie with 5 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the opening period. Phil Esposito has 1 minute, 15 seconds remaining in his penalty for unnecessary roughness. Espo, a 34-goal scorer this past season with the New York Rangers. Maltsev takes the face-off against Merrick. Puck goes in behind the net to Dallas Smith. Smith ahead to McKechnie. McKechnie ran into the Soviet player Luchenko, and Maltsev just cleared it back into Vasiliev. 5 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the opening period. Puck's loose at center. Eric Vale covers up, tries to get it over to Dallas Smith. Yakashev brings it back in for the Soviets. Pass in front, knocked down by Dennis Kearns. And Kearns comes back for Canada. Up with Vale. Kearns at center ice to the Soviet line to Vale. His shot, and that goes wide. Comes all the way out to center ice, and covering up is Dallas Smith. Over to Wayne Merrick to Dennis Kearns. Kearns at center. Over to Merrick to Dallas Smith. Smith runs into the Soviet player. Puck goes into the corner, and they hold it there and get a whistle. Merrick and Vasiliev rough it up a little.
Well, the Soviet defenders, Vasiliev and Luchenko, they've been hitting hard in this hockey game. Vasiliev, one of their rougher hockey players, and it looks like that they're going to stand their ground here against Team Canada today.
4 minutes and 39 seconds remaining. A 1-1 tie with the face-off to the left of Tretiak. Esposito still in the penalty box for Team Canada, along with the Soviet player Petrov. And Badney is still serving time in his misconduct. Kapustin brings it back to the Soviets. A pass to Balderas. Balderas tried to return the pass, but was stopped by Greg Smith. And Smith has been impressive in this opening period for Canada. Puck goes down into the Soviet zone. Merrick and Vasiliev in after it. It's cleared in front as the penalized players step back on the ice. Verbuchen down the left wing side. His shot, and that's deflected high and out of play. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. From the face-off, Canada has a break. Merrick clears the puck on the left side. Canada over the lines. Luptov runs into the Canadian player McAdam, and the puck is cleared out by Balderas. 3 minutes and 49 seconds remaining. In the opening period, Canada on the attack. Dallas Smith to McAdam. It just bounced off his stick. And into the corner for the Soviets is Pervukin. Kapustin goes in to help out, stopped by Esposito. McAdam in with Kronovo, and the puck is cleared back out to center with Harlamov coming back for the Soviets. In with Flukov and Mikhailov. In front of backhander, and Tony Esposito stops that. Mikhailov slow getting back into the play as Esposito comes back for Canada. Going in with Kronovo, and he's taken out of the play by Vasiliev. Gives him a shot in the head. Puck is back to the line. Greg Smith lets it go, and Tretiak stopped that. At the side of the net, the puck to Esposito, and it's held there with Esposito and Tretiak. And face-off will be to the right of the Soviet net.
Well, actually, Tretiak had trouble tying that puck up, and Klassen had tried to get it loose. It was loose to get it to Esposito for the opportunity, but Tretiak had a little bit of a problem making sure he got the face-off off that loose puck on the side of the net.
Back to the live action. The puck is cleared out. The Soviets are stopped by Greg Smith, but carrying on. Petrov lets it go, and that was wide of the Team Canada net. Smith into the corner with Petrov. Esposito jamming away at the puck. Gets by Harlamov, and here's Rick Hampton. Hampton's pass to Klassen. Up with Ellis, and Klassen had trouble with it. The Soviets come back over the line in front of the net, and Greg Smith runs into the Soviet player Petrov. Hampton covers up for Canada to Esposito. Up with Klassen. Esposito over the line. Checked by Fedosov, and Sagankov has the puck on the far side. Checked by Ronnie Ellis. Russell had the puck bounce off him, and the puck too far for Mikhailov. Hampton. There's it off the boards, back into the Soviet zone with Ellis into the corner after it with Sagankov, and it's icing against Team Canada. And we have 2 minutes and 11 seconds remaining. One of the surprises, Tom, has been the play of Ronnie Ellis of Team Canada.
Yes, Ronnie Ellis gets better with every hockey game, and you might expect that because he's been out of hockey almost 2 years. Here we have Maltsev coming off a little bit of an injury. He was hurt earlier in the series, and he's one of the leaders on the Soviet Union's hockey club.
Back to the action. Dennis Kearns has the puck with 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. Vale lets it go. LaRouche goes after the puck as Eric Vale slashed the Soviet player as he was checked, and the Soviet player is hurt.
It's Babinov who's down, and Babinov took Vale into the boards very, very hard. Vale came off the boards back at him, and here we have Babinov down. This is the same Soviet hockey player who was down in the incident with Paymont in the first game, where Babinov took Paymont hard into the boards. This time was Eric Vale who was taken in hard.
Well, the two players collided, Babinov and Eric Vale. Now Babinov being assisted by the trainer. Here's a replay, Tom.
There's Babinov putting him into the boards. Here we have Vale. The two of them go to the ice. They're going down hard. Vale came back after this. There's the helmet going off. Here we have Vale coming over with his stick. And I think he may have made contact with the back of the shoulder. Obviously, if he'd hit him on the head with that shot, it would have been all over, but it didn't look.
Well, that was really uncalled for, the play of Eric Vale.
And here we have Phil Esposito over at the bench, LaRouche and Vale, and it looks like Vale is being thrown out of the hockey game.
With 1 minute and 59 seconds remaining in the opening period, it's a 1-1 tie here. And Vale heading towards the penalty box. Vadnais still in there serving his 10-minute misconduct. And the Team Canada players milling around the timekeeper's bench. Greg Smith is number 3. Phil Russell is number 23.
There you can see behind they have the gate open. Whether they're going to put them out through the gate, but the attendants at the end of the rink have it open.
Next penalty for number 28, Vale of Canada.
Paul Vale is tossed out of the game. Now, Paymont runs into Yakushev and knocks him down.
Well, Paymont just skated up behind Yakushev when they were waiting for the draw, just took the skates out from under him, and the referee was over at the Soviet bench explaining something to them and didn't see it at all, but Paymont just skated behind Yakushev, took his skates out from under him.
Well, Babanov also gets a penalty for the Soviets. He gets a minor penalty, but he hasn't gone to the penalty boxes yet. He's sitting over on the Soviet bench. But they've announced a penalty to Babanov, and the Soviet penalty box gate is open. But they have not put, well, there's the 2 minutes now on the left of your screen.
Here
and
comes
Babanov heading to the penalty box.
Here comes Babanov over, his helmet off, but he's coming in the box. But here's Phil Esposito trying to get this penalty situation straight. But there's Babanov in the box for his 2 minutes.
A 1-1 tie with 1 minute and 59 seconds remaining in the opening period. An important game for both teams. Earlier tonight, Czechoslovakia defeated Sweden 2-1. The Czechs are in first place with 15 points. The Soviets and Sweden are second with 12, and Canada has 11 points. Canada must win both remaining games tonight and Sunday in order to win a gold medal. But there are many possibilities. The only thing we know for sure at this point, Sweden cannot finish first. They have 12 points with just 1 game remaining. Sagankov has scored the Soviet goal, and the Team Canada goal was credited to Greg Smith.
Well, I believe that the official is telling Phil Esposito that it's a 5-minute penalty and not a 2-minute. I think that he was indicating with his hand that it was 5 minutes. Phil Esposito looking very disgusted about it, but there was no doubt about it that Vail came back very, very heavily with his stick.
Very difficult to hear the public address system here. We're enclosed high up in the rafters here at the Stadthalle in Vienna in an enclosed booth with glass in the front and glass on the side, so it's very difficult at times to hear the public address system. In fact, in order to see the time clock here, we have a special monitor with a camera aimed at the time clock, and that's how we pick up the time remaining in the period.
Here we see Johnny Wilson.
Back to the live action, and covering up is Greg Smith. Left it there for Esposito. Esposito to Vadnais. Or rather, Dennis Kearns to Ellis to Esposito. Over the Soviet line, Ellis breaks for the goal. Esposito turned around, back to Kearns. His shot! That is deflected just wide by Esposito. Yakashev, checked by Ellis. Back in the corner, Luchenko right in front. Ellis is spun around. Yakashev clears it to Vasiliev. Vasiliev back for the Soviets. Returns the pass. Yakashev over the line. Left it for Maltsev at the side. Kicked out by Esposito. The shot. And that's kicked out again by Esposito. Phil Esposito clears it on the left side. And Maltsev goes back for the Soviets with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining here in the opening period. A 1-1 tie. Yakashev collides with John Pronovo. McKechnie around the boards to Phil Russell. Russell to Pronovo. Canada coming back. We're into the final minute as the puck is stopped by McKechnie, and he couldn't keep it in, though. Dallas Smith going in with Pronovo. Dallas Smith into the corner. Took a weak shot that was wide of the Soviet goal with 45 seconds remaining in the opening period. Vasiliev is checked by Pronovo. Still has the puck. Tried to get it out. McKechnie knocked it down. Now Luchenko will try. And we have 30 seconds remaining. Mikhailov inside his own blue line. Clears it out to Harlamov. Harlamov then goes back in. Pronovo covering him. Harlamov trying to run out the clock with 15 seconds remaining. Comes up to center ice. McKechnie mixing it up with the Soviet player. There's a shot that just goes wide, and Dallas Smith with 6 seconds remaining. McAdam deflects it out to center. Sagankov has it for the Soviets. To the line and over as the horn goes to end the first period of play. And it's a 1-1 tie. And a highly entertaining first 20 minutes here at the Stadthalle in Vienna, Austria. And the two teams leave the ice after the first 20 minutes of play. A 1-1 tie at this point. Of course, earlier today, as we mentioned, Czechoslovakia defeated Sweden by a score of 2-1 with all the scoring in that game in the third period.
Here we have the first goal for the Czechoslovakian team. Iberman goes behind the net. And on the second shot after the goaltender Augusta had stopped it, it was shoved underneath him by Martinez for the first goal.
Well, Tom, the opening goal in the game at 6 minutes and 20 seconds, scored by Martinez, and Czechoslovakia goes in front 1-0.
Here we see Iberman driving wide around the Swedish defense. And here's what the Europeans like to do often. They drop that puck by the net on the same side that they're going behind. They don't go all the way behind the net.
With Noby in the penalty box for tripping, Sweden scored a power play goal on this effort.
While number 24, Hans Jacks, was the player who tied it up. With only 5 minutes remaining in the hockey game, was a power play. Milan Noby being off for tripping at the time. But here it goes back to Stig Salming at the point. Back over across to Weinstock in the circle. And a sort of shot pass over in front of the net is deflected underneath Zorilla by Jacks.
And less than 1 minute later, Czechoslovakia scored the winning goal. Haberman takes the puck and fires it home at 15:38 of the third period, and the Czechoslovakian bench empty.
Well, it was a long looping pass from inside their own zone. It took a little bit of a bounce. Here it is. Lindgren tries to play it with his stick, is off balance. Iberman gets a stride on him, cuts across in front of the net, and beats the Swedish goaltender Augusta, putting it underneath him before he can get to the far side. Here it is again. There's the little flip, the bounce, Lindgren missing the puck. Here we have Iberman getting the clear-cut breakaway and scoring the winning goal, and making sure now that Sweden cannot win the gold medal.
This is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
Okay, do Guy, and then I'll do Jerry, and then if we still have time, maybe we'll bring Guy back in again. I understand. I'm talking, leave the commercials as is. We'll do Guy, go to commercial, do Jerry, go to commercial, and if there's still time and the highlights haven't come up yet, we'll have Guy standing by.
Am I on one?
Coming up, the three of us?
About 30 seconds. Stand by.
Joining us in the intermission studio is Guy Chiron, who unfortunately has a bad left knee there. We could sure use you in good shape today, Guy. That left knee, unfortunately, will keep him out of the series, Bill. That's too bad.
Well, I'll tell you something. The Washington Capitals must have been a little worried when you got the injury.
Well, I did get a phone call from our general manager, Max McNabb, and he was kind of concerned. And the next day after I was examined in the hospital, the doctor had told me that I didn't need an operation, so I was fortunate.
Yeah, I'll bet he was concerned. But now, talking about concern, I'm concerned at the stupid penalties we continue to take, eh? What do you think about it?
Well, I think, Bill, at the beginning of the game, I thought we were playing really well. We were playing aggressive, but we were really beating the Russians to the puck, and we weren't letting them get organized too much. And then all of a sudden, maybe the referee by calling a couple of penalties, maybe our guys were, well, they are kind of nervous about this game, and maybe they got a little over anxious, and maybe we did get maybe a couple that I'm sure we don't need against the Russians, especially with their power play, but this is something that's part of the game, I guess.
Well, I don't think it's part of the game, Guy, because I think that a team should go in there, even if they're up emotionally, they should go in there realizing they can't take a stupid penalty. Now, surely Johnny Wilson, the coach, would have said, look, you've got to play it cool out there, and they haven't. For instance, Paymont taking Yakishev's skates out from underneath him. It was didn't get a penalty, but he was lucky he didn't. That vicious slash, it was the National Hockey League. Clarence Campbell probably would have been throwing the player out for a couple of games. I'm speaking about Vail. Don't you agree?
Well, I mean, to what you're saying, it's true, but, you know, I was facing to playing some of the exhibition games in the first game, and, you know, sometimes it's even hard to realize what kind of emotion you get in those kind of tournaments, and I'm sure you hate to see it happening, but I cannot talk for everybody. Maybe at one time I would have done the same thing. I don't know, but like you say, if we keep having those penalties and we do those things, and the referee I'm sure will penalize our team, I think that will hurt it.
Well, let's hope we don't do it in the second period. This is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
Where's Jerry Patterson? Get going. Our guest. Yeah.
We don't get Jerry back. We'll get back.
Here, Bill.
Got it?
Go ahead. Where is Patterson?
Okay, come on, Jerry. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the highlights are coming up quick, so we're going to only have a minute or so.
That's fine, John.
Okay, you just arrived. What's the reaction back home? Thanks for equipping the U.S. and Team Canada.
Russia.
And Russia, did you?
I negotiated and we're close.
Okay, say, okay.
8, 7, 6. 5 to everyone, John. 4. Ready, Heinz, bitte. Cue.
Just arrived in from Canada, Jerry Patterson of CCM, who has equipped all these teams. And Jerry, what's the reaction back home like?
I think, John, particularly after the 7-0 win we had over Sweden, that all of Canada was really high and looking forward to this game today. I just arrived yesterday morning, and I must say that I think the response back home is that the whole populace is behind Team Canada after coming back from that.
Have they made up for the very strong feeling, the negative feeling in the 11-1 game?
I think so. I think everything's been uphill since the 11-1, and I think that all Canadians are proud of the showing of the team to date, and I certainly know everybody's looking forward to them winning this big one.
Jerry, you equipped the U.S. team, and they needed help. You equipped Team Canada and will for the next 4 years. I understand that the Russians are now going to be with you. Is that true?
I've been meeting with the Russians. I met with Mr. Koloskov, the president of the Soviet Ice Hockey Federation, this morning. I can't announce anything officially at this time, but negotiations have been going very well,
okay,
Johnny.
what's the latest word? Because the Memorial Cup is next Sunday from Vancouver, and what was the latest word? We want to urge all the Vancouver fans to get out for that one, but was it really building for there?
Yes, of course. You're carrying the game, Memorial Cup. We're sponsoring the Memorial Cup, the CCM Memorial Cup, and it's building. I think there's people, again, are looking forward to the telecast nationally back home in Canada, and it's emblematic of Junior Championship, and we're honored to be sponsoring it, John.
Okay, Jerry, thank you very much for joining us. And this is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
In the first period, the Soviets outshot Canada 11-7. Interesting to note, 7 of the 11 Soviet shots were taken by defensemen, while 4 of the 7 Team Canada shots were taken by defensemen for Team Canada. And oddly enough, defensemen figured in both goals, Tom.
Well, Sagankov scored the power play goal for the Soviet Union, and this is one thing that I've been watching their shooting in practice, and as the puck comes across, they don't have to set it up and then take the shot. And on Sagankov's goal, when the puck comes across, he shoots it all in one motion, doesn't wait and set it up. And this is one skill that the Soviet defensemen have, and actually Greg Smith on the Team Canada goal made a very good play too, because the puck came back to the point. He shot quickly, and although they haven't given official credit to Ellis, I do believe that Ellis did tip the puck in from in front of the net.
Well, the puck definitely hit something going by Tretiak, and we'll see the highlights coming up shortly here. As the two teams get ready to return to the ice, the officials have made their appearance, and Sagankov is back on the ice for the Soviets, and he's the lone player out there at the present time. But 1-1 tie, and here's a look at the first period highlights.
Well, here's Petrov controlling the puck, makes a good play at the blue line, puts it into Mikhailov. Mikhailov looks into the slot. As I was mentioning, Sagankov doesn't set the puck up, shoots it all in one motion. Power play goal. Both the goals scored in the first period were power play goals.
And for Sagankov, that's his second goal of the championship.
Here's the nice little move by Petrov, getting the puck over the line without the offside. Dumps it through to the Soviet captain, Mikhailov. Here it is now. Doesn't set it up, shoots it all in one motion behind Tony Esposito.
And the Team Canada goal. Now watch, you'll see the shot taken by Greg Smith from the point. Ellis is in front, but I believe it bounced off a Soviet defense.
It's difficult to tell whether it did go in off number 3, Lachenko, or whether Ellis did tip it home. But Klassen deserves a lot of credit, because when the puck went into the Soviet zone, and this was one thing Team Canada had a problem with in the previous game, they would dump the puck in the Soviet zone. They had difficulty forechecking. Here's Klassen, first to the puck, controlling it, throwing it out front. Phil Esposito has an excellent opportunity. Comes back to Smith, the pass through. There's the deflection, whether it touched Ellis or not. We have Lachenko sprawling over top of Tretiak.
That's how it stands now, a 1-1 tie. Earlier today, Czechoslovakia defeated Sweden 2-1, and Czechoslovakia in first place with 15 points. The Soviets and Sweden are second with 12, and Canada has 11 points. Canada still very much in the hunt for the gold medal. A win tonight and a win Sunday would give Canada the gold. We have Team Canada manager Derek Holmes with us up in the booth now. And Derek, what's the feeling of Team Canada?
Well, they're a little bit high and somewhat excited now. I'm a little tired running up the stairs. But what sort of upset our guys is there was a terrific body check against the boards by Babinoff, and he wasn't given a penalty, and Vail reacted to it, and they have given him a game misconduct for attempt to injury. And in international rules, a 10-minute penalty is given as well.
Well, Derek, of course, they gave Babinoff a minor penalty.
Well, that's what bothered me as well, because it was after the fact. He didn't call that until, you know, the play was concluded. That's unsure about you know, what happens in the next game, but I think he'll probably have missed the final game.
Okay, thanks, Derek. We'll try to get back to you in just a couple of moments here as we're ready to go to start the second period of play. And the puck is cleared back to Dennis Kearns. Kearns into the corner for Team Canada. It's a 1-1 tie. Puck cleared off the stick of Sagankov. Kearns takes it again and then fires it over the boards and out of play, and we have a whistle. With the face-off inside the Team Canada blue line. Jean Pronovo, number 18. As the Soviets are back at full strength, Babinoff back on the ice, and Team Canada a man short. They slap the puck down the ice, and Tretiak stops it at the side of his own goal, leaves it there for Fedosov. Watched by McKechnie, Sagankov in front. Up on the right side, then he clears it. Bouncing puck goes into the Team Canada zone with Kearns in after it. Kearns then fires it into the Soviet bench, and another whistle.
Well, while Derek Holmes was speaking there, and you saw the melee around the penalty box, actually what has happened is that because of the attempt to injure, as the official ruled it, Team Canada has been penalized for 10 minutes, so they must play shorthanded for 10 minutes now.
And Rod Gilbert is serving the 10-minute penalty to Canada as a result of that infraction. Eric Vale and Babanov late in the opening period. It's a 1-1 tie. All the scoring in the first period. This is Mikhailov in the corner. Around the boards for Petrov, and the Soviets come back. Mikhailov takes the pass up the middle, going in with Harlamov. Into the corner, watched by Kearns. Fires the puck around the boards. Petrov let it go. Zagankov clears it into the corner. Petrov has it. Team Canada a man short. Zagankov at the line. Back to Petrov. Petrov returns the pass. Soviets get a shot, and Kearns clears it to Jean Pronovo, and he fires it off the boards down the ice. Soviets go back. Pass on the right side for Mikhailov, coming up for the Soviets, and he's stopped by Phil Russell. Zagankov carrying on, then Vatne took it from him. Shadrin. He dropped it back for Fedosov, back to Shadrin. Shadrin inside his own line. The Soviets on the power play as Fedosov has it. Clears it out to the line. Here's a break for Yakashev, going up to the Team Canada line. Over the line, into the corner, watched by Vatne. Yakashev nailed against the board, still has the puck, but Ronnie Ellis takes the clearing pass in front. Ellis over to Esposito. Esposito in for Canada, back to Ellis, he shoots, and Tretiak stops that. Fedosov then clears it to Mikhailov, too far for him, and the Soviets are called for icing.
Well, Ronnie Ellis and Phil Esposito jumped in quick there and almost had the opportunity, slipping the puck by Tretiak. The Soviets get caught with two of their young defenders out there, both Babanov and Fedosov, who hasn't played. Here we have them breaking out of the end. Ellis moving the puck ahead to Esposito. Outside of Babanov, he throws it across. There's young Fedotov not being able to tie up Ellis, and he almost slips it underneath Tretiak for the go-ahead goal.
Face off to the right of Tretiak. And we've played 2 minutes and 13 seconds here in the second period. Shadrin, number 19, at the face-off position for the Soviets. Wilf Paymont, number 9, will take the face-off for Canada. Canada continuing to be a man short as a result of the 10-minute infraction handed out to Vale late in the second period, or rather the first period, for intent to injure. Puck cleared into the corner. Paymont goes after it, watched by Maltsev. Shadrin gets it back to the line to Babanov. Babanov over to the far side. Here's a chance for the Soviets. Babanov gets a return pass over to Maltsev. Lets it go, and Esposito kicks that out. And McAdam clears it down the ice. Babanov goes back for it. A 1-1 tie. Soviets coming back. Yakashev up the middle. Shadrin on the right side. Into the corner. Yakashev has the puck. We've played 3 minutes here in the second period. Yakashev over to Maltsev. Maltsev stops into the side of the net. Shadrin, there's a shot. They score. Yakashev takes the puck and fires it into the open net.
Well, it was a very well set up goal on the power play. Maltsev controlled the puck off the side of the net, moved it behind. Here we have Maltsev in control. One defender comes to him, moves it across. There we have both defenders caught outside of their zone. And we have Big Yakashev coming behind him to shoot the puck past Tony Esposito.
Yakashev scores for the Soviets, and they go in front 2-1. Tony Esposito almost got his stick over to block it, but the puck was fired into the net. And Canada still a man short. The Soviets lead 2-1. Kearns cleared that puck up into the boards now to play. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. We played 3 minutes and 14 seconds here in the second period. The Soviets lead 2-1. And approximately 6 minutes remaining in the Team Canada major penalty to Vail, the 10-minute penalty. There's a chance for the Soviets. They score! The shot taken on the left wing side. And they go in front 3-1 as Kapustin let it go.
Well, young Kapustin just broke in on the left side. It was a good pass. Tony O came out to try and cut off the angle, but it was a great shot. Here we have them controlling the puck. Balderas in the neutral zone. Makes his move inside, throws it across to Kapustin. Here we have Tony out at the edge of the crease. A perfect shot just inside the point, or the post, picking the corner for Kapustin.
That's the second power play goal they've scored while Vail has been serving the intent to injure 10-minute major. The misconduct. And Canada remains a man short as the Soviets go in front 3-1. Esposito off the boards, gets by Vasiliev. Into the corner, Pervukin left it there for Vasiliev, and the Soviets come back again. Pass at center ice. Over the line goes Kapustin. Then over the Team Canada blue line, over to the far side. Here's a shot by Balderas, and Russell stopped that. Vasiliev couldn't keep it in, and Phil Esposito has it for Canada. Esposito watched by Zlukov and Balderas. Puck comes over to the side to Balderas, and he can't control it. It's slapped back into the Soviet zone with Vasiliev in after it. Vasiliev at the side of his own goal. The Soviets 3 and Team Canada 1. Harlamov up to the Canada line and over, runs into Esposito, and he clears the puck back to the Soviet end. Ronnie Ellis goes after it with Harlamov. Ellis got a shot away, but Tretiak stopped it. They try to hold it against the boards. Ralph Klassen falls. The puck goes loose. Cleared up on the right side, and the Soviets have a break again. This is Petrov over the line, over to Harlamov. Mikhailov goes into the corner after it. Checked by Russell. Vadnais has it at the side of his own goal. Clears it, but not out. On the far side, puck is kept in there by Fedosov. In front for Shadrin, over to Harlamov. And Al McAdam brings it out for Canada. McAdam. And he clears it into the corner. Fedosov checked by Esposito. Esposito then lost the puck to Mikhailov. In behind his own goal, up on the right side for Petrov. Petrov for the Soviets to the Team Canada line. Watched by McKechnie. Hooked. Puck goes back to Mikhailov. Over to Fedosov. Fedosov gets set. Past the puck instead of shooting it. There's a shot, hit the side of the net. Petrov back to Fedosov. Into the side, and McKechnie had it bounce off him. It's kept onside. And McAdam gets it for Canada, and finally the Canadian team gets it out. Down the ice, and it's brought back by Vasiliev. Up on the left side for Harlamov. Watched by Pronovo. Pronovo slashes at him. Hampton can't get it out. Russell goes into the corner. We played exactly 6 minutes. In the second period, the Soviets lead 3-1. Kept at the line. Here's Petrov. Drops it back. Over to Vasiliev. His weak shot is knocked down by Russell. And Canada comes back. Russell and Pronovo. Canada still a man short. Here's a pass in front. And Russell is dumped. There'll be a Soviet penalty. As Vasiliev upset Russell as he took the pass. Now Russell runs into Sagankov. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey.
of USSR for interference.
Vasiliev in the penalty box, upsetting Russell at 5:23 in the face-off to the right of Tretiak. Goes to Babanov. Babanov right in front of his own goal. Luchenko brings it out for the Soviets. They lead 3-1. Maltsev stopped by Dallas Smith, and Canada comes back. Hampton to Esposito. Esposito watched by Luchenko. Gets a shot, stopped by Tretiak as he gloves it and holds on.
Well, the penalty to Vasiliev is certainly going to help Team Canada because this is going to even up the sides. And not only did the Soviets score 2 power play goals at this point, but it helps Team Canada in that they're continually trying to kill penalties being a man short. It takes away from any offensive momentum they may be able to muster here.
Alan Eagleson is at the penalty timekeep bench. He's always upset about the time as the shot by Ellis went wide as he broke his stick. Babanov clears it out. Puck is cleared over to Babanov. Babanov in front. Over to Yakashev. Yakashev watched by Phil Esposito. Esposito collides with Babanov as Maltsev carries on. Maltsev is dumped. There's a Canada penalty to Dallas Smith. And he gets a call for hooking. And the Soviet player Babanov is on the ice inside his own blue line. And the referee, his calls are very hard to decipher. Referee is Sepinen, but I believe it's a hooking call. Tretiak is right over to the penalty bench. He's left the net. Now we'll see if he gets a penalty for leaving the net.
That's a misconduct for leaving your net then, or an altercation. He should stay right in that crease.
Tretiak came right out of the net, right over to the penalty bench to talk to the referee, who was handing out a penalty to Dallas Smith. Babanov has a facial cut. As we mentioned, he was sprawled inside the Soviet line out of the play. And Raimo Sepinen, there's the penalty to Dallas Smith. A hooking call.
Well, apparently Al Eagleson was down at the penalty box because the 10-minute penalty to Vail was not shown on the clock. It came just before the end of the first period. And with 12:51 remaining to play, he should have approximately 3 minutes remaining in his penalty, but it was not shown on the clock. And Alan Eagleson is upset about it, and he wants to know why it isn't being shown and when Eric Vail's penalty is going to be up.
Well, that's the problem we have, too, without that clock and not knowing the exact time of the penalty. And, Tom, we've just been informed that perhaps it's just less than a minute remaining in the penalty.
Well, perhaps rather than the 3 in the minute, they showed the original 2 on the clock, and then we were told later that it was a major penalty of the 10. Perhaps that 2 was shown, and then they changed to the 10, and it was 8 minutes rather than 10, so I'm out a minute on that first prediction.
Well, Canada trailing 3-1 as Dennis Kearns clears the puck around the boards. Puck then slapped down the ice into the Soviet zone with Pervukin going back for it, watched by McKechnie. Pervukin brings it out for the Soviets ahead to Petrov, or rather Balderas. Balderas in over the Team Canada line, going in with Luptov. Luptov moves in front of the goal. The puck back to number 12, Pervukin, over to Balderas. Balderas drops it back, gets it again. Balderas at the side, then to Pervukin, into the corner, and Kapustin can't handle it. Goes into the corner to get the loose puck. Kapustin back to Balderas, and he has trouble with it, and McKechnie clears it out. Pervukin back inside his own line. As the Soviets come back, Balderas in with Kapustin and Zlukov. The shot stopped by Esposito, and the rebound was just slapped wide. Dennis Kearns ahead to McKechnie to Rod Gilbert. Gilbert left it there for McKechnie. In front, Gilbert is checked by Pervukin, goes after the puck into the corner. Tries to clear it in front. He's turned around. Pervukin left it there. Soviets are back in full strength. There's a shot in front. And McKechnie just failed to get Goodwood on that. Back to Russell, lets it go, and he just misses the far side of the net. Vasiliev checked by McKechnie. The puck goes loose. 28 seconds remaining in the Team Canada penalty to Dallas Smith. This is Klassen for Canada. The Soviets are leading 3-1. And we've played 8 minutes and 55 seconds here in the second period. And Canada clears it in, a bouncing puck stopped by Tretiak. McAdam goes after it. Vasiliev around the boards. And the Soviets come out again. Harlamov has trouble in front of his own goal. Dallas Smith is back on the ice. Smith on the ice. And Canada is back at full strength. Puck cleared. McAdam knocks it down. Takes it at the side, drops it back for Dallas Smith. And he couldn't get a shot away as he was checked by Petrov. Back come the Soviets with Mikhailov going in with Harlamov. Harlamov takes the pass. He scores! Harlamov.
Well, what a goal that was. Petrov made the long pass coming out of his own zone. Harlamov took the pass in full flight, just deflected it off his stick to Mikhailov. Here's the pass coming all the way out. Here you see Harlamov just deflected off his stick back to Mikhailov. Creates the 2-on-1 situation. Mikhailov dumps it through. Harlamov draws Esposito, dumps the puck into the net.
From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey.
Goal scored by number 17, Kavalamo. Assisted number 13, Mikhailov.
Soviets lead 4-1. The last goal coming at 9:37 with Harlamov scoring for the Soviets. Ellis bouncing after the puck there. The puck comes out. And the Soviets bring it back in a game with Mikhailov dropping it back to Petrov. His long shot. Tony Esposito stops it. Mikhailov after it. Around the boards comes back to Sagankov. He gets a shot on goal. Stopped by Kearns. Mikhailov tries to get it to Harlamov. Back to Sagankov. He gets set. Lets it go. Stopped on the line. And Greg Smith covers up along with Tony Esposito.
Well, Tony Esposito made a very good stop with Sagankov moving right in from the point. He has one goal already. Here we see Tony Owen. Really, he has had very little chance. Here we have the puck come back, being controlled inside Team Canada zone. Here we have the shot as Sagankov moves in. It's slipping behind. Tony O reaches back, grabs it, pulls it for the faceoff.
9 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the second period. The Soviets get a shot, stopped by Paymont. Paymont has it along the boards, tries to get it out. McAdam couldn't fire it out. The puck is finally out to center ice. Shadrin then gets it for the Soviets and dumps it back to Vasiliev, up to Maltsev. Maltsev on the right side for the Soviet Union is stopped by Dallas Smith. Smith tries to get it out. And the puck is cleared back inside the line with Paymont, chased by Yakushev. Out to center to Pierre LaRouche. Tries to get it over to McAdam. That's stopped. Luchenko clears it. And the Soviets come back with Yakushev to Maltsev. Dallas Smith intercepts, though. Dallas Smith to the Soviet line and over. It's offside, as LaRouche was over on right wing ahead of the puck carrier, Dallas Smith.
Well, here's Paymont shadowing Yakushev right into the corner. There he's trying to intimidate him there in the corner by actually tried to kick his skates out from underneath him, but he's staying right with him, trying to upset him. Moves into the bench. There's big Yakushev, one of the greatest hockey players in the world today.
Ralph Klassen goes off, and he's replaced out there by Wayne Merritt. The Soviets are leading 4-1. Bill Russell clears it into the corner. Vasiliev takes it off the boards. Up on the left side, the Soviets come back with Flukov. Flukov over to Balderas, and Balderas couldn't handle it. Phil Russell has it for Canada. Russell to Rod Gilbert. He tries to get it over to Merrick. It's stopped. Ravukin goes into the corner in behind his own goal for the Soviets. Ravukin then bounces it out off the stick of the Team Canada player McKechnie. Here's a pass in front. Shot to score! Balderas stole the puck.
Well, McKechnie tried to throw the puck back into his own zone so that the Team Canada defender would get possession of the puck. Here he is, moving back, throws it. Balderas just jumps in there. He's got the great speed, intercepts the pass, moves it to the side, flips it up over Tony Esposito.
From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. 8 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the second period. The Soviets are leading 5-1. Pervukin is checked by Gilbert. McKechnie goes after it. Runs into Kapustin, but Kapustin gets a pass to Zlukov. Over the line to Balderas. He's stopped. Back to Zlukov. Lets it go. And that's stopped in front by Badney. Merrick up with Gilbert. Over the line. It's offside as Gilbert was offside on the right wing.
Offside.
Well, Vasiliev came right across there, and here we see Merrick picking himself up because Vasiliev came across as he was making the play and put a good body check on Wayne Merrick at that point. Here we see a little bit of a scuffle here, kicked the skates out from under Zhlukov. And you wonder how long this is going to continue, because really Team Canada has one of two ways to go. The score is 5-1 at this point. They can stay on the ice, try and get back in the hockey game. They continue to try and take these penalties, trying to intimidate the Soviets, because really they're not going to intimidate the Soviets. They're only going to get deeper in the hole, but they got to stay on the ice and try and get back in the hockey game.
7 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the second period. Both teams are at full strength. Petrov and Esposito at the face-off position. Goes over to Kearns to Greg Smith. Smith gets a shot. Tretiak holds on for a face-off in the Soviet end. A reminder tomorrow on CTV, a sports special, the 1977 Kentucky Derby, and this is the first leg in the American Triple Crown. The 103rd running from Churchill Downs tomorrow on CTV. Greg Smith off the boards, gives it to Petrov. His shot kicked out by Tony Esposito. Here's the shot from the point, covered up in front as Esposito smothers it. Fetisov let the shot go from just inside the blue line. 7 minutes and 38 seconds. 5-1. The Soviets are leading Canada. They had to play a man short for 10 minutes. A penalty handed out to Eric Vale late in the opening period. Unnecessary roughness as he took a swing at Babinov with his stick. And that was costly for Canada. Here's Petrov's shot. And Esposito clears it into the corner. Harlamov then around the boards. Sagankov slaps at it. He's checked by Klassen. Petrov lets it go, and Esposito again covers up.
Well, Tony O has made a few good stops here at this point in the hockey game, but the Soviet Union are just turning it on at this point. Team Canada have given the puck away twice in their own zone for good opportunities. Once from Klassen right onto Petrov's stick. Good shot, but good stop by Tony Esposito.
And the face-off will be to his left. Pierre LaRouche and Petrov. Puck goes back to Dallas Smith. Watched by Mikhailov. There's a broken stick out there as the Team Canada player Paymont broke his stick. Over the line, there's a shot, and it's knocked down in front by Zagankov. Soviets bring it back in. Petrov going in with Harlamov. Lets it go, and that hit Esposito. He's hurt. Esposito took that high on the body up in the right shoulder area. And Esposito is hurt, with trainer Rick Noonan being escorted out there quickly.
Well, I don't know if Tony Esposito really saw all of that shot, because Petrov, here we see him moving in. The one Team Canada defender, Dallas Smith. He moves the puck to the side and shoots quickly. And I don't know if Tony Esposito saw all of that. You see it hit him just underneath the mask, high up on the shoulder. And he goes down. Right cheek, possibly.
Well, bounced off his right shoulder, then up into the cheek, and that's where they're attending right now.
Here we see it again, just to the side. The quick shot by Petrov in front of Dallas Smith. The puck high up on Tony Esposito's shoulder, perhaps onto the side of his face, and down he goes, dropping a stick. Here we see Rick Noonan, the Team Canada trainer, putting the ice pack just on the side of his cheek.
The backup goaltender for Team Canada is Jim Rutherford. And he's at the bench as Tony Esposito is being assisted off.
Well, if Tony Esposito goes off the ice in international rules, he either has to be fixed up immediately and back into the crease, or the other goaltender has to go in the net. There is no warm-up period or a time when the goaltender can decide for himself whether he is capable of continuing his play or not. Here he's putting his mask back on and standing in the crease. because he's not allowed to go out unless there's going to be a change. So obviously, Tony Esposito doesn't want to go out of that net. He wants to stay in there.
Well, this brings up a good point. When they had the argument about the penalty, when Tretiak came right over to the timekeeper's bench, nothing was said about that. Yet there's a great deal of concern when an injured goaltender wants to go over to the bench for repairs. Obviously, it's a rule, no question about that, but the referee let Tretiak go over to the bench to get involved in an argument, and he should have been penalized.
Well, here's a good move by Team Canada. Pronovo brought the doctor out to take a look at him. He's not leaving the net, but there's the doctor, Team Canada doctor, taking a look at Tony Esposito, and this gives him time to collect himself, or if he's not able to continue, he can go out of the net. But that decision is going to have to be made. So as long as they can continue to look at him and examine him here without some pressure from the official, then a decision can be made.
And who says doctors don't make house calls?
Yeah, isn't covered by OHIP. Well, he didn't have to make too much of a trip, really. It was a short trip out there, and he was helped out there by Rick Noonan. Dr. Simon McGrail was the Team Canada medical official who was out on the ice looking after him. He and Rick Noonan, Team Canada trainer.
We're ready to go now. Esposito remains in the net for Canada. We have 6 minutes and 56 seconds remaining in the second period. Maltsev got a weak shot away. Comes back to the line. Slapped out by Paymont. Tries to get it over to McAdam. But it's broken up. The puck goes loose. Paymont goes after it. In over the line. Left it there for LaRouche. Backhands it into the corner. Paymont right in front, and Shadrin brings it back for the Soviet Union. But Yakashev couldn't reach the pass. Hampton. And there's a penalty, I believe, coming up. The referee's got his arm up.
Well, the referee is going to give either a holding penalty or an interference penalty to Pierre LaRouche. And that must have been a little bit behind the play, but Pierre LaRouche is quite upset. Here he is arguing with the official about the call. But he's being given the penalty, possibly for holding.
This referee's opponent makes up his own signals, I'm sure of it. He just rubbed his elbows with his arms flapping in front. That's an interference call, as I believe it'll be announced. Well, they call interference is the call to Pierre LaRouche that was out of the play. Now there's the call. Do you see the referee what he did?
Number 16, LaRouche of Canada.
And a 10-minute misconduct. The gate is still open.
10-minute misconduct penalty.
Sepinen enjoys giving the misconducts. Walt McKechnie's ready for the face-off, as you saw there, but Team Canada has to get another player in the box. LaRouche, a minor penalty, plus a 10-minute misconduct.
Well, here's Rod Gilbert coming over. He sat out the 10 minutes for Eric Vale, and now he's coming over to sit out another 10 minutes, so Rod Gilbert is not going to see all that much action tonight, sitting out these misconducts.
6 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in the second period. Vadnais goes into the corner for the puck around the boards to Russell. Russell gets it again, then clears it ahead. Pronovo just failed to get it. Vasiliev covers up for the Soviet Union. The Soviets are leading by a score of 5-1. Up on the right side, Shadrin. Long pass to the left side. That stopped, and McKechnie has it for Canada. McKechnie ahead to Pronovo. He just drops it back with 1 minute and 28 seconds remaining in the minor penalty. And the referee blows the play dead, and LaRouche was giving him an earful right in front of the penalty box.
Well, I believe there's a double minor being handed out at this point. Here we have Walt McKechnie coming over and in the box. And Shadrin is the Soviet player going into the box. 2 minutes each. They're either high sticking or roughing, but they're both in a little scuffle just in front of the penalty box. There we see Shadrin in the box, the Soviet player. So that for 1 minute and 26 seconds, Team Canada is going to play 3 men to the Soviets 4.
We'll need a computer to figure out the time in these penalties. 1 minute 26 seconds remaining in the minor penalty. initially to Canada. And Shadreen in the penalty box. And back to the action. The puck is taken off the boards and down the ice. 5 minutes and 48 seconds remain in the second period. Vasiliev goes in behind his own goal. Lassen bumped with Pervukin. Here's Luktov. Back to Vasiliev. Vasiliev to the Team Canada line. Watched by Vadnais. Goes in behind the Canada goal. Still has the puck. Out to Balderas. Balderas stops. Balderas, number 26, has scored one of the Soviet goals. Gets it back to Vasiliev. Canada with just 4 players, including Tony Esposito out there. And the Soviets have the extra man at this point. Back to Vasiliev. Vasiliev into the corner to Balderas in front. There's a shot. And that just went wide and cleared down the ice by Phil Russell. 31 seconds remaining in the first Team Canada minor penalty to LaRouche, his minor. And that's when Gilbert will step on the ice, as LaRouche will still serve time in his misconduct. Russell cleared that puck out to center ice, comes over to Vasiliev. With 10 seconds remaining in the 1 minor penalty to Canada, Tony Esposito off the boards. Gilbert gets set to step back on the ice. As Vasiliev has it inside his own line, the Soviets come back. Oh, and Russell ran into Balderas and knocked him down. And their referee is signifying a penalty, and Russell felt that, as no doubt did Balderas. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey.
Here we have Phil Russell making his way to the box. He hit Balderas with a devastating check, but he was called for cross-checking, got too much of a stick-up in there, and he's in the box along with LaRouche, who is serving his misconduct, and Walt McKechnie, who has his minor penalty, along with Shadrin for the Soviet Union.
4 minutes and 26 seconds remaining in the second period. The Soviets 5 and Canada 1. Mikhailov left the puck there, and bringing it out is Petrov. Petrov then drops it back to Zagankov. Zagankov to the Team Canada line, watched by Klassen. Turns into the corner. Checked by Mikhailov. The puck comes back to the line. Over to Zagankov. He gets set. Lets the shot go. Knocked down in front. Gets the puck again. There's a shot, and Tony Esposito stops that. As Shadrin steps back on the ice for the Soviets. Around the boards it goes. Petrov has it. Soviets at full strength. And the puck is intercepted by Walt McKechnie. Watched by Mikhailov. Gives it to Kearns. Over to Greg Smith. And Smith clears it down the ice with 3 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the second period. Zagankov brings it out for the Soviets to Harlamov. He's stopped by Esposito. Bill Esposito, number 77, is the Team Canada player of jump. Dennis Kearns was upset, and there's an interference call against the Soviet player Zagankov.
Well, I believe the only person who's really been intimidated tonight might be the official, because really it was an interference call. Zagankov upset Dennis Kearns, but he wasn't going to call it until everybody yelled, and then finally put Zagankov in the box. But he's pretty slow in making these calls, and he's not too sure about the call once he's made it, but the crowd seems to be affecting his judgment.
Referee tonight is Raimo Seppänen of Finland. And there'll be a lot of questions asked about his officiating in tonight's game. It is not what you'd call of World Championship caliber. Zagankov in the penalty box with 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Make no mistake about it, Team Canada has certainly deserved some of their penalties. Bale, for one, deserved his 10-minute. But there have been several questionable calls to both sides here in the second period. Back in behind the Team Canada goal. Kearns off the right wing side, intended there for Paymont. He couldn't handle it. There's a shot by Pervukin, goes wide of the Team Canada goal. Balderas goes after it, runs into McAdam. Greg Smith goes in to get the puck. Checked by Zlukov. Balderas has it. Back to Zlukov. His shot goes wide. Paymont and Zlukov after the puck. Paymont has it for Canada. Back to Dennis Kearns in front of his own goal on the left side. Smith. Greg Smith then just scoops it to the Soviet line. Balderas goes after it, but McAdam gets there first. 2 minutes and 28 seconds and 1 second remaining in the penalty to Russell as Team Canada is back now at full strength. The Soviets are a man short with Zagankov still in the penalty box. Pass intended for Balderas, cleared down the ice, and going back for it is Greg Smith. Team Canada changing on the fly. Smith a pass on the right side for Ellis. Ellis to Rick Hampton. Hampton going up with John Fornevo. Checked against the board, still has the puck. Hampton in the side, in front for Ellis. Gets set, shot, and it goes wide. Back to the line, Dallas Smith lets it go, and Tretiak loves it. With 31 seconds remaining in the Soviet penalty to Zagankov.
Well, this is what Team Canada has to have. They have to have the odd power play and try to get back in this game offensively, and they're putting a little pressure now on the Soviet Union when Zagankov is in the box for upsetting Dennis Kearns.
Time remaining on the right of your screen, you saw a moment ago. 1 minute and 50 seconds here in the second period. And the Soviets leading 5-1. Canada on the power play. Vadnais drops it over to Hampton in front for Esposito. Bounces over to Jean Pronovo. Pronovo back to Vadnais. He clears it into the corner to Ronnie Ellis. Ellis checked, and the puck cleared all the way back into the Team Canada zone with Vadnais back after it. 10 seconds remaining in the Soviet penalty. Phil Esposito winding up for Canada. Coming up to center. He has Pronovo on the left, Ellis on the right. Takes it in, drops it back to Hampton as the Soviets return to full strength. Ellis in the corner in front. Here's a chance for Hampton. Back to Pronovo. Backhander, and it just goes wide. Pronovo has it again. Esposito slaps away at it. Zagankov checks him, and the puck goes loose. There's a pass in front. Esposito goes after it. And we're into the final minute of the second period. Hampton slaps it as Esposito's dumped. And the Soviets clear it back into the Canadian zone with Vadnais back to retrieve it. Vadnais straight up the middle for Canada, going in with Pronovo, lets it go, and that's stopped by Tretiak. In behind the net, Pronovo falls, and the Soviets come back with Mikhailov. Tries to get it to Petrov, and that just failed to click. 29 seconds in the second period remaining as Hampton brings it back for Canada. Going in with Ellis. Hampton is checked, goes after the puck, but Petrov clears it but not out. Esposito with 18 seconds remaining. Into the corner. Here's Pronovo trying to clear it in front. Checked by the Soviet player Petrov, and they hold it there for a face-off with 10 seconds remaining. Reminder, coming up tomorrow in Toronto, the 10th anniversary figure skating show at the Toronto Cricket and Curling Club. And Johnny Esau has asked us on behalf of CTV to wish all concerned the best of luck. And we'll have the anniversary figure skating show 1 week from tomorrow on CTV. McKechnie gets the puck over, but Harlamov breaks away for the Soviets. His long shot, and that misses the goal as Esposito saw it all the way. 2 seconds remaining, and the horn goes to end the second period of play. And the players start filing off to end the second period here at the Stadthalle in Vienna. And that 10-minute penalty, very costly. 15 shots by the Soviets in that period, 6 for Canada. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey on C.
6, 5, 4, 7, 3, 2, 1, cue.
Well, joining us now is the Pop Shop Kid, the only better-looking kid than Guy Sharon in the studio right now. Eddie Shack has joined us. He was down below looking at the hockey game. He's now joined us to give us some of his comments on that first period, a period that saw Canada playing 1-1, took a 10-minute penalty. Amazingly enough, the Soviets scored only 2 penalties, though they had a man advantage for 10 minutes. Now, that's something you wouldn't have believed 5 years ago. But as a matter of fact, that is what happened. And Eddie, you were right by the boards looking at it all. And what kind of a feeling did you get? Was how much of it was deserved? How much of it is recklessness? And how much of it is just totally uncalled for?
Well, first of all, our players are really excited about the game, and they are going for whatever you want to say. That
blood.
They're going for blood. You know what I mean? And with all our players, and with our fans being there, there's such a there's something about this hockey that I don't know what makes us do or want to feel, or like, no, we can play hockey, but they don't want to hit or whatever. They just started laughing at us, and I think that's making us more angry and miserable. And with the high sticks, we are high sticking. You know what I mean?
Do you think maybe, Eddie, that, and maybe you can answer this too, Guy, that instead of going into this a hockey club versus a hockey club, we're going into it as an ideology, a democracy against communism almost, and that's the battle, not a hockey game.
And it's absolutely that if they would retaliate, I think that would be the best thing that ever happened to us. Then I'm pretty sure that they're in pretty good shape and they could go with any of us.
Yes, but they are so well disciplined. Oh, I've seen hockey. I followed this international hockey for many years. I've never ever yet seen a Soviet player drop a stick. Never mind the gloves. Never drop a stick. And we should have known going into this hockey game that you can't do that. Because, you know, when we were on the ice, when we were at full strength, I think you'll agree with this, that we were actually outplaying the Soviets. Yet we're down 5-1, and 2 of them came after it was 1-1. They popped in 2, made it 3-1, and suddenly,
2 minutes.
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you.
Just a minute, I'd like to hear Guy.
True, but, you know, like Eddie was saying, the emotion in a game like this is just unbelievable. And probably what really turned it around is the major penalty that was given to Eric Vale. I think even at that time, if it would have been just a minor penalty, I think going into the period, maybe we wouldn't have had a deficit of maybe 5-1, and we would have maybe been able to come back and do better. But I think that really hurt the team. And as far as the emotion, I think there's really a lot inside the players, and these things, you know, they're bound to affect you. And whether the Russians, they can handle it. It seems like every year we watch them play, they might have a power play for 2 minutes, and they might keep the puck for 1:59 and then take the shot for the goal. But this is different than our brand of hockey, too.
Don't you think, though, Guy, that the Russians were there to be taken tonight?
There's no doubt. I really think that we outplayed them in the first period, and many times when we were killing the penalty, we did it really well. And even the last power play we had, we put all kinds of pressure. Easily, if the puck could go in, and maybe we'll get 2 or 3 goals and bounce right back.
Eddie, the way Ronnie Ellis, your old pal, has been flying out there, I think probably he could be the best hockey player Team Canada has. Maybe you should have put the blades back on.
No, I was going to bring my skates and my stick and go along the boards like that. But I had the fans up there, and they were yelling, "We want Shaq," and I was right with them all, and with the Canadian flag and saying Chimo and everything. It's absolutely so exciting. I feel that we have to, give them another little bit of a lift, and then I think that if they come out this third period, I guarantee you, if they just say, look, we're just going to play hockey, and they could score 5 or 6 goals. There's no problem there.
Let's take a look at another thing, though. This Sepinen is calling, I think, a very bad hockey game. Canada's deserved a lot of the penalties. But they're taking a few falls. Eddie, you know about that. You've taken a few in your career.
Yeah, but what's happening, they're coming off. They're coming off the bench like they were dead, and they won't be able to move. Look, all of a sudden, they're sitting, they're gone. And with that, they would burn me up, too, eh? Because, us guys are talking about that.
You know, Will Paymon and Walt McKechnie both said in the 11-1 game, the thing that caused them to really actually lose their composure was the laughing. That is to say, the Russians laughing at the Canadians. Now, you mentioned that, and Guy, would you reflect on that?
Well, true, especially if the referee kind of gives us the penalty for it. They'll turn around at you, they'll wave their glove at you, or they'll smile, and I don't think there's anything more frustrating, because really, what he's saying is that you took a stupid penalty, and I made you take it, and really, you kind of wish, like Eddie was saying, that he would retaliate back at you, and he doesn't. That's what makes it more frustrating.
This has happened for a long time, though, Guy. One day we're going to have to learn we can't win it sitting in the penalty box. This is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
This is the only time I might not win it, though.
Ralph, do you want to do any of those cues now? Do you want to do any of those cues now? From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. This is World Championship Hockey on CTV. Oh, just a sec, I gotta find it. Have I got time to do it now? The telecast of this game is presented solely for the interest of our viewers under copyright of Arthur Harnett Enterprises Limited. Any use of this telecast without express written consent is strictly prohibited.
Personen. Herr Josef Papp. Herr Josef Papp, bitte kommen Sie nach Beendigung des Spiels zum Sprechertisch. Herr Josef Papp aus Wien, aus der Eggerstraße.
Back at the Stadthalle here in Vienna, Austria, Bernie Pascal and Tom Watt high up in the broadcast location as the two teams make their appearance to start the third and final period after a 1-1 first period of play. Tom, the Soviets pulled ahead mainly because of the penalty situation to score 4 goals.
Yes, here we have Maltsev controlling the puck at the side of the net. He throws it just off the side to Shadrin. Shadrin then challenges, draws the other defender, Rick Hampton, to him. Yakashev coming in from the side, shoots it by Tony Esposito.
And for Yakashev, that was his 6th goal of the championships. He also has 3 assists.
Well, the key to that play, of course, was, here we see it again, Maltsev dropping into the side with Shadrin challenging to draw Hampton to him so that Yakashev can come free off the side of the net to score the goal easily. Here we have Balderas, second power play goal in the long penalty. Just passes it over on the side to Kapustin. Kapustin has a low shot, just a perfect shot. Tony Esposito was out on the edge of the crease, but the shot just gets inside the post. Good shot, second power play goal on that penalty to Eric Bale at the end of the first period. Here we have Balderas, this young pair, Balderas and Kapustin, very exciting. Balderas throws it over. Here's Tony Esposito out of the top of the crease, but the shot is just inside the post for the second power play goal. Now this is real skill. Here's the long pass from Petrov. You notice Harlamov just tip it to Mikhailov. Mikhailov threw in the 2-on-1 situation for the goal by Harlamov.
Well, Harlamov getting that goal, and that was his 9th goal of the championships. And he's certainly still one of the mainstays of this Soviet hockey team.
Well, this is what the Soviets like to do. They like to throw this long pass. Here it is again. Petrov, the long pass out of, look, just that little tip from Harlamov over to Balderas. Balderas realizes he's got the 2-on-1 situation, shoves it through, drawing out the goaltender, putting it home.
You mentioned Balderas, Tom. He set up a couple of goals, and he also scored a goal in that second period.
Well, here are the goals that kill you. Now, Walt McKechnie going back into his own zone, trying to throw the pass across to Carol Badney in his own zone. Balderas with that speed just darted in there between Badney and McKechnie, picked up the loose puck for an easy one. Those are the ones that break your back when you've got possession. One rule, don't go back, especially in your own zone. Here's the pass coming across. Balderas jumps in, flips it over Tony Esposito.
Composure very important, and the Canadian team must tolerate the tempo of the European game and the Soviet style. if they in fact hope to come back in this game. They are trailing 5-1. Both teams start this period at full strength, although LaRouche is in the penalty box, still serving time in a misconduct penalty picked up in the second period. And right off the start here, Sagankov iced the puck, and the Soviets are guilty of the first infraction here in the third period, with the face-off back in their zone.
Well, just as we saw the highlight on the long pass from Petrov, this is what the Soviets like to do. Counterattack quickly, throwing it out of their own zone, and frequently they're called for icing when that pass goes astray and down the ice.
Phil Esposito gets a shot, stopped, Klassen the rebound in front, and it's cleared down the ice and stopped at center by Kearns. Kearns of Canada on the left side for Klassen. That just failed to reach him. Greg Smith at his own line, backhands it to Esposito, goes down into the corner with Fetisov back for it for the Soviets. Fetisov bumped and knocked down by Ralph Klassen. Esposito, watched by Harlamov, has the puck on the left wing side and clears it in. Fetisov stopped. Here's a chance for Ron Ellis. Lets it go. Stopped Esposito the rebound, and he was tied up by Fetisov. Klassen goes in behind the net, tries to get it in front to Ellis. It's fired ahead by the Soviet player's glove, and it's whistled down by the referee, Sepinen.
Well, Ron Ellis was standing all by himself in front of the net and yelling, Ralph, Ralph, trying to get that puck out because he was home free in front of the net when two Soviet defenders were caught behind the goal line. If Klassen could have got that puck out, perhaps we would have had the second team can the goal of the night.
59 seconds have been played in the third period, and the Soviets, after a 1-1 tie in the first, scored 4 goals in the second period. McKechnie gets it back to Russell, stops it at the line. Babanov goes in behind his own goal for the Soviets. Out in front to Yakashev, checked by Karl Vatne, forced to go back. Shadrin, number 19, a pass on the right wing side to Maltsev. Maltsev and Phil Russell fall. Vatne picks up the puck, watched by Shadrin, gets it around the boards to McKechnie. McKechnie then clears it out. Here's Kronovo over the line. Luchenko ties him up. Kronovo spins away, gets the puck in front to Russell. Russell at the side of the net, in front, and it's stopped as McAdam let it go. McAdam tries to get it back. It's cleared to an open wing. Yakashev has it for the Soviets. Let it go to Shadrin. Shadrin to Maltsev. His shot. Tony Esposito stops that, and Vatne brings it back for Canada. Straight up the middle. We played 2 minutes here in the third period. Look. Team Canada player falls. It's over on the far side. Maltsev brings it over the line, watched by Russell. In behind the net, in front, a shot to score! Yakashev. Yakashev set up in front, fired it past Tony Esposito.
Well, this is what we saw in the previous game from the highlights of Czechoslovakia. We see the Soviet player Maltsev go behind the net, and that extra 3 feet behind the goal, rather than going all the way behind the goal, they throw it back just as they're going behind. Yakashev is not tied up in front of the net, and he simply shoots the puck by Tony Esposito.
Time of the goal, 2 minutes and 8 seconds of the third period. It's 6-1 for the Soviets over Canada, and the puck is cleared down the ice, and that'll be icing against the Soviets. Czechoslovakia earlier tonight defeated Sweden 2-1. Czechoslovakia leads with 15 points in the World Championships, and they'll play Canada on Sunday, and we'll have that game for you on the full CTV network. Paymont in the penalty box.
Well, there we have Rod Gilbert, who sat out a few penalties this evening himself, and he's a little frustrated, throwing his stick a little up in the air as he goes back to the Team Canada bench.
Paymont in the penalty box for Canada. LaRouche still serving time in his misconduct. He's standing up there. Face-off directly in front of Tretiak outside the Soviet blue line. Back to Kearns. Kearns to Phil Esposito. And he's out there with Ellis killing off this penalty. Phil Esposito stops at the Soviet line. Watched by Zlutov. Still has the puck, going in with Ellis to the Soviet line, then clears it over, goes after the puck again, and covering up is Petrov, or rather Balderas. Balderas breaks away for the Soviets, in with Zlutov and Kapustin. Kapustin takes the pass, drops it back to Pervukin. He gets set, stop by Tony Esposito. The rebound, Esposito stops that. Taken at the side. Here's Pervukin of the Soviets. Watched by Kern. Soviets on the power play. Kapustin drops it back. Back to Kapustin. Back to Pervukin. His shot, and that's wide of the Team Canada goal, and Phil Esposito has it. And he clears it down the ice with 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining in the penalty to Paymont. 6-1, the Soviets leading Team Canada. Soviets bring it back out. Petrov, a pass on the right wing side. Balderas stops. Drops it back to the line to Harlamov. Harlamov tries to get it over in front. McKechnie then has it for Canada. Out to Pronovo, and it goes sailing down the ice, and Pronovo goes after it with Fetisov. Fetisov gives it to Vasiliev. Soviets come back again. Mikhailov to Harlamov, in over the line. His shot goes over the top of the net. Vasiliev on the far side keeps it in. Stopped there by Petrov. He gets set, fakes a shot, took a weak one that hit Vadnais. And McKechnie has it for Canada. McKechnie backhands it off the boards down the ice with 10 seconds remaining in Paymont's penalty. Soviets bring it back out. Vasiliev to Mikhailov on the right side. Then a return pass to Harlamov. Delayed penalty coming up here to Canada as Russell goes over to get the puck. Petrov was stopped and flattened on the far side, and there's a Canadian penalty just as they return to full strength.
Well, McKechnie just took a slash, a two-hander, and hit Petrov over the ankle. There you see Petrov limping his way to the Soviet bench. But again, Team Canada's penalized. They get the 2 minutes, but it was a slash.
From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. To the action, the shot, and that's stopped by Esposito. And he covers up at the side as action resumed quickly, and Esposito had to be sharp. With McKechnie in the penalty box, Canada again a man short, and they trail 6-1.
Well, we have 15 minutes remaining in this period, and we've already served perhaps 3 minutes being shorthanded, and there's no way that Team Canada is going to get back in the hockey game this way. And the fact the Soviets, they have no mercy on you. They'll make it 100 if they can when they get you on the run. They don't let up. They keep trying to add up that score. Here we have McKechnie in the box, getting a new stick from the Team Canada bench.
This is the Soviets' 9th game. They've scored 74 goals in 9 games up to this point. And they lead this one by 5, 6-1. Greg Smith clears the puck down the ice, and it goes right into the Soviet corner with Luchenko back after it, watched by Ellis. Luchenko stops, gives it to Yakushev. Yakushev goes behind his own goal. Esposito got a piece of the puck, but he carries on, and Esposito steals it. Inside the line, the puck goes loose, and Babanov covers up for the Soviets to Yakushev. Yakushev on the left wing side. Tried to get around Dennis Kearns, was stopped. Luchenko overskated the puck as he tried to get a shot away. Babanov. Soviets on the power play, 1 minute and 5 seconds remaining in the minor penalty to McKechnie. Luchenko ahead to Maltsev, going up with Yakushev and Shadrin over the Team Canada line. Maltsev takes it over to the far side, drops it back to Babanov, back into the side, in front, a shot. And it hit a player and stopped in front. They scored. Shadrin on the rebound as the puck initially hit Greg Smith, and he had his skate tied up in the mesh.
Well, Maltsev made the play on the goal. Here we have the puck from Babanov at the point. Maltsev comes in from the side, penetrates the zone, moves to the side. The first shot hits the post, Comes right out to Shadron. Greg Smith trying to do his best to cover up with Dennis Kearns, but Shadron just has to flip it over top. But Maltsev moved right into the center of that Team Canada defensive box, being short-handed, and makes the score 7-1.
Back to the action. The puck goes to Vasiliev. Power play goal for the Soviets. They lead 7-1. And Pervukin clears it up on the right side. Balderas takes it over the line. Watched by Russell. Does a little dipsy doodling there. The puck goes loose. Vadnais goes after it as Russell and Balderas mix it up a little. Russell at center. Back over the line to Merrick, but Pronovo was offside. 13 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the third period. Wayne Merrick, number 12 for Team Canada, a native of Sarnia, Ontario, has scored 3 goals in the championships for Team Canada.
He's been used a little as a winger when there were injuries as well to Sharon and the other Team Canada left winger Klassen. He's filled in at the wing as well as being a center.
Here's a break for the Soviets. Kapustin takes the puck going over the line. Pass in front. Shot to score. Balderas. Balderas set up perfectly by Kapustin. Makes it 8-1.
Well, here we have the perfect example of the long Soviet pass coming out of their own zone. The quick counterattack. Here it comes up to, you don't see him here, but here's Kapustin picking it up, the long pass. Holds. Across to Balderas on his forehand. Shoots the puck over Tony Esposito.
From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey.
Nach Paste Nummer Kapustin sowie der Nummer 22 Schluchtow. Goal scored by number 26 Balderas, assisted by number 8 Kapustin and number 22 Schluchtow.
We've reached the 6-minute, 20-second mark here in the third period, and the Soviets are leading 8-1. Referee is Seppänen of Finland. He drops the puck. LaRouche takes it over to Paymont, and it's offside at the Soviet line as Paymont then mixes it up with Fetisov, number 24. The 2 linesmen tonight wearing jersey number 9 is Kaisla of Finland, and Toman of Holland is wearing sweater number 11. Wilf Paymont of Canada, number 9 on right wing. Puck's knocked down and taken by Rod Gilbert. His backhander goes wide of the Soviet net. Fetisov into the corner, then gets by Rod Gilbert, clears it out to Harlamov, but he can't get his stick on it. And back after it is Hampton. Hampton for Canada. Pass ahead for LaRouche. Up to Paymont on the right side, but Fetisov broke that up. Soviets come back. Harlamov to Mikhailov, but he can't reach it. Into the corner, Hampton bumps into Mikhailov. After the puck is the Team Canada player, LaRouche. To Paymont, back to LaRouche, and the pass is ahead of him. Sagankov takes it, but it's icing against Team Canada. You know, Tom, I've never seen so many Canadian flags and sweaters in one rink before, and the Canadian fans here, no question about it, having a ball, and they don't really have to worry about anything going home because the Air Canada people have literally been working around the clock, filling every request here, and they are to be congratulated. Back to the action, the puck into the corner, taken by Greg Smith. He's stopped by Maltsev. In to help out is Esposito to Klassen, but it's stopped there by Babanov, and then Esposito takes it from him to Dennis Kearns. Kearns, number 6, to Esposito. Back to Kearns. Smith takes it on the left side to the Soviet line, gets a shot, and Tretiak deflects it into the corner. Greg Smith behind the net in front for Ellis, and he lets a shot go wide. Ellis has it again to Esposito, bounces off his stick. Smith at the point, gets the pass from Esposito, and his shot is deflected wide of the Soviet goal. 7 minutes and 52 seconds have been played here in the third period. Smith after the puck, a game watched by Maltsev. Gets it in front to Klassen, a bouncing puck. There's a backhander by Esposito, stopped by Tretiak, and Esposito collides with Tretiak. Klassen in the corner. In front for Esposito. Here's Ellis. His shot. And Tretiak stops that. Shadrin on the right side as the Soviets try to get it out. Yakashev will try. Up the left wing side to center. Watched by Kern. Gets a shot kicked out by Tony Esposito. And Klassen brings it back for Canada. Ahead to Kronovo. Kronovo into the corner. Checked by Luchenko. Goes after the puck. Has it. Can't get his stick on it. Finally does. Merrick goes in to help out. Back to Kronovo. Kronovo at the side of the net. Then bumped by Luchenko. Gets it in front. And the puck is loose. Merrick swings away at it. Luchenko clears it out to center. Here's a break for the Soviets. Maltsev in with Yakashev, but he's stopped by Russell. McKechnie on the right side to Kronovo. Out to Merrick. Merrick. McKechnie shot. Hit the post. And bounces to the blue line. Kept in, then bounces out over Phil Russell's stick. 10 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the third period. The Soviets 8 and Canada 1. Badney ahead to Merrick. And he put it right onto the stick of Zlukov, and the Soviets bring it out again. Long shot taken by Pervukin, handled easily by Tony Esposito. Kapustin at the side. Drops it back to the line. Vasiliev gives it back. There's a shot. Esposito stops that, and Russell has it. Russell for Canada ahead to Merrick. To McKechnie. Up with Paymon. And 10 minutes, 13 seconds remaining. The horn will go to change ends here at the midway point. There's a shot. And that's stopped by Tretiak as Paymon let it go. McAdam at center with 3 seconds. Dallas Smith inside the line. The horn goes as we head into the final 10 minutes. This is World Championship Hockey on CTV. Final 10 minutes of the third period in the game, with the Soviets leading by a score of 10-1. The puck cleared into the Soviet zone with Zagankov after it. 8-1 the score for the Soviets. Hampton has the puck. Checked by Mikhailov. Mikhailov drops it back to Harlamov. Harlamov circling around inside the Team Canada line. Back to Fetisov. And his shot goes wide. Paymon has it for Canada. Checked there by Petrov. Then Mikhailov took it away from him. Dallas Smith goes after it. Petrov bothering him. Puck goes in behind the Team Canada goal, and Hampton has it. Hampton stops and then goes back with 9 minutes and 19 seconds remaining in the third period. 8-1. The Soviets are leading. Hampton clears it out to center ice, where it's stopped by Fetisov. Over to Mikhailov. Harlamov over the line. Fakes. Gets a weak shot. Stopped by Esposito. In the corner goes Mikhailov. In front, Petrov shot. Backhander stopped by Tony Esposito as Harlamov was parked right at the crease.
Well, here we have Paymon again. He's putting his stick up in Harmalov's nose, and it really doesn't matter at this point in the hockey game, no matter what he's doing to him.
Tom, we'd like to offer our congratulations to the 3 Memorial Cup finalists. Ottawa, Sherbrooke, and the New Westminster Bruins. The Memorial Cup opens this coming Sunday at Vancouver's Pacific Coliseum, and we'll have the final game May 15th on the full CTV network. And we remind you, tickets for all the Memorial Cup playoff games in Vancouver at the Pacific Coliseum are on sale right now, and that should be some week in Vancouver. Back come Team Canada. Klassen takes the puck, then is stopped by Maltsev. 8 minutes and 42 seconds remaining. Greg Smith gets a shot. Tretiak gloves it and holds on.
Well, here's a player who probably, because the team is scoring a lot of goals in this tournament, the Soviet Union, great offensive machine, is not getting all that much credit. But Tretiak has been steady in every one of the games, even the games that they lost to Sweden and Czechoslovakia.
Puck cleared down the ice by Esposito. There will be no icing as Dennis Kearns goes back for it. Both teams are at full strength here. Greg Smith. A costly penalty to Eric Vail resulted in 2 Soviet goals in the second period, and that turned the game around completely. Round the net goes Ellis. At the side, in front to Kearns. His weak shot was stopped, and Yakashev has it, checked by Ellis. Greg Smith then covers up at center. Smith over the line. He's dumped. No penalty there. Smith goes after the puck. Watched by Shadrin. Still has it. Dumps it back to Ellis. Ellis behind the goal in front to Esposito, and it just bounced off Babanov and went wide. Here comes Yakashev. Yakashev down the left wing side for the Soviets. And Klassen picks up the loose puck in front. Overskates it. Esposito carries on. Esposito straight up the middle for Canada. Over the Soviet line. Still has it. Watched by Luchenko. Goes behind the Soviet goal. Esposito stops a pass in front, and it's knocked down, and Kapustin comes back. Kapustin for the Soviets. Going in with Maltsev. Over the Canada line, into the corner. Watched by Russell. Behind the Canada net in front. Here's Luktov, and that's kicked out by Esposito. Canada with Phil Esposito carrying the puck. Backhands it to an open wing. And covering up is Babanov. He's checked by Pronovo. 7 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the third period. 8-1 for the Soviets. Puck is cleared. McKechnie stops it at center. Off the boards. Pronovo goes in after it. Watched by Pervukin and checked. Luktov tries to get it out. Pronovo keeps it in. Merrick in the corner in front. And it comes all the way out to center with Bill Russell after it. He's watched by Balderas. Clears it right onto the stick. Here's Luktov over the line. And checked by Vadnais. Pronovo runs into Luktov. McKechnie brings it back for Canada. And it just rolls out to center ice. Balderas slaps it over there to Pervukin. McKechnie checks him. Vasiliev in behind the net to Pervukin. 6 minutes and 22 seconds remaining in the third period. The puck stopped at the line, but it's offside. And the shot was taken. Now Tretiak and McKechnie exchange a few words. As Tretiak unhappy, and McKechnie let that shot go after the whistle had gone. And there's a delayed penalty coming up. From Vienna, this is World Championship Hockey. As soon as we get a break, Marcel.
2 July, McKechnie Scotches. 2 minutes penalty for number 11. McKechnie of Canada for cross-checking.
Cross-checking penalty to McKechnie of Canada with 6 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the third period. So the Soviets with a power play. Face off just outside their blue line. McAdam fires it on goal. And into the corner is Fetisov for the Soviets. In front is Zagankov. Soviets leading 8-1. Petrov gets by McAdam, takes the puck up the middle. Over to Mikhailov. Mikhailov to the Team Canada line and over. Backhands it to the far side. Soviets in the Team Canada zone. And Canada a man short. Mikhailov moves in front, and Harlamov took that pass but couldn't get a shot away. Zagankov over to Mikhailov. Mikhailov drops it back to Zagankov. Mikhailov gets it again at the top of the circle, moves in front, a shot. Esposito kicks it out, the rebound, and Harlamov let that go wide. Soviets still with possession. There's a shot from the side, and Tony Esposito covers up. And we have with us now the Canadian referee here at the World Championships, Marcel Vaillancourt. And Marcel, I don't know what your comment is on the officiating. It puts you in a bad position, but it has been questionable, I would say.
Definitely, the refereeing here is quite difficult because 7 referees we are now 7 refereeing here, and what happens, we come all from different countries, and it's hard to come to uniformity. They are not calling here interference, and that's what frustrates some of the Canadian players. They are getting interference, and then they get back with their stick. And this frustrates the Canadian players. This has been through the whole tournament, and I think more interference should be called.
What about the penalty handed out to Eric Vail, the fact that he was tossed out of the game? How did you see that?
Well, the way I saw that, I think it should have been a 5-minute major. I don't like to take against official, but I think it should have been a 5-minute major and not a 10-minute shorthanded and a match penalty at the same time. I think this was a little too severe.
Well, Marcel, it was mentioned, too, that he had missed the next game. Is that the ruling? Do you understand it?
I don't know the ruling of this, if they miss the next game or not.
That'll come from the...
From the board of directors, yes.
Right. Marcel Vaillancourt, thanks for dropping by, and perhaps we can get another comment from the Canadian official who is watching this game up in our telecast location here at the Stadthalle in Vienna. And we have 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the third period. 8-1 for the Soviets. Maltsev gave it right to Phil Esposito. Esposito has it off the boards into the Soviet zone. And back into the corner. And coming back out with it is Luchenko. As Canada returns to full strength, McKechnie's back on the ice. Yakashev's shot, and it goes high out of play into the screening on the far side. 4 minutes and 9 seconds remain in the third period. And Marcel, as you're mentioning, it does create a lot of problems. The language barrier, working with linesmen that are Finnish and German, it creates a lot of problems.
Definitely. You have a Finnish, Czechos, and they're all different countries. And the language on the ice, you know, to the players themselves. When I refereed the Czech-Sweden game the other night, I couldn't understand what they were saying to me. And I had 2 linesmen that couldn't even speak English. And even the announcer downstairs couldn't even say a word of English. So it was quite difficult for me to try to let them know exactly what was going on in some of the penalties handed out.
Canada has the puck, and it's taken by McKechnie. McKechnie checked there by Zhlukov, and the Soviets come back again. That lead pass intended for Balderas. And back over the line is Pronovo, but it is offside at the line. What about the system now, Marcel, using the three-man officiating staff?
Definitely. This is the first year they've used the 3-man system down here, and the linesmen are not too used to that, either the referee. They're used to depending on another referee to call some of the penalties. And this creates a little problem because it's their, like I say, their first year as a 3-man system, but I'm sure they've adopted for a long time, and it's going to be that way from now on.
Okay, our thanks to Marcel Vaillancourt, the Canadian official, for joining us up in the broadcast location here. And the puck is taken by Vasiliev at center and stopped there by the Team Canada player, Merrick, as Pronovo fell right in front of his own bench. 3 minutes and 9 seconds remaining here in the third period. 8-1, the Soviets are leading. And they have the puck now with Zhlukov carrying it out. Back to Kapustin. Kapustin setting up in front. His shot. Esposito kicked that out. Bill Russell gives it to Vadnais. Watched by Kapustin, ahead to McKechnie. Up on the right side. Over the line, Paymont tried to get it in front, or rather Merrick. There's a shot, and it goes wide of the Soviet net, comes back to Russell. His shot hits a skate in front and goes wide. Vasiliev around the boards. Vadnais keeps it in and gets a shot on goal, and Tretiak holds on.
Well, the Soviets at this point of the hockey game are avoiding quite a bit of the contact. They feel, obviously, tomorrow when they play Sweden and Canada plays Czechoslovakia, that game with Sweden is very important if they're to win the gold medal. So they're trying to stay away from Team Canada with an 8-1 lead, 2 minutes and 32 seconds left in the hockey game.
Face-off will be to the left of Tretiak. Puck is dropped, and the 2 centermen are tied up. It's back to Hampton, lets it go, and Tretiak loves that and will take the face-off in the same position again. A reminder tomorrow on the full CTV network, the first leg of the American Triple Crown, the 103rd running of the Kentucky Derby. And also on CTV tomorrow, we'll have highlights of the World Hockey Championships. Check your local listings for time in your area. Harlamov shot, stopped there by Rick Hampton. And it got tied up in his equipment there, and we have a whistle. With 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. 8-1, the Soviets leading. Mikhailov wearing jersey number 13. He leads the championships in goals. He had 12 going into this game tonight. Back to Zagankov. And Petrov just deflects it back to the Canadian side of center ice. Into the final 2 minutes. McAdam has the puck on the left wing side, clears it to the Soviet line. And McAdam goes after it. He's stopped. Carrying on is Petrov. Inside the line. Cleared out to Mikhailov. Back to Petrov. Petrov over the Team Canada line is stopped, and Dallas Smith clears it, but not out. McAdam goes in to help out. Gives it to Hampton with 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining. McAdam over the line. Misses a check. Puck is knocked in offside by Dallas Smith. Memorial Cup is coming up in Vancouver, and the final game will be seen on the full CTV network May the 15th. And the 3 teams taking part will be Ottawa, Sherbrooke, and the New Westminster Bruins. And tickets for the Memorial Cup are now on sale. On Sunday on the full CTV network, we'll bring you the game here from Vienna between Canada and Czechoslovakia. And the Soviets, with a victory here tonight, will move 1 point back. There's a shot, and Esposito stopped that from Shadrin. Czechoslovakia leads with 15 points. The Soviets and Sweden have 12 each. But the win here tonight for the Soviets would give them 14. Esposito in behind the Soviet net, takes it in front, and his backhander goes wide. Ellis has it in the corner. In front for Esposito, a backhander, and Tretiak kicks that out. Dennis Kearns drops it back to Greg Smith. His shot deflected wide. And we have 49 seconds remaining in the third period. Ellis tries to set up Kearns, and the Soviets come back. Maltsev on the right side, going in with Yakashev and Shadrin. Bouncing puck goes wide of the Team Canada goal. 35 seconds remaining. Maltsev in the corner is bumped. Greg Smith has lost his stick. Puck cleared but not out. Smith picks up his stick, and Dennis Kearns has the puck. Kearns, a pass on the left side for Ralph Klassen, too far, and it's icing against Canada with 21 seconds remaining. And Tom, one has to be disappointed in the performance of Team Canada tonight.
Well, at this point, 11-1 in the last game and 8-1 at this point in the hockey game. 19-2 in 2 games. It couldn't be more decisive than that.
I'd like to convey our thanks at this time to Carling O'Keefe and General Motors of Canada for their sponsorship of the telecast on CTV and also their sponsorship of Team Canada. 12 seconds remain as the Canadians are again called for icing with the face-off back into their zone. Earlier tonight, Czechoslovakia defeated Sweden 2-1. And Czechoslovakia, the reigning world champions, lead with 15 points. The Soviets will be second after this game with 14. Sweden has 12, Canada 11. Bill Russell has the puck, a lead pass on the left side, goes to Wayne Merrick. In front, a shot by McKechnie with 3 seconds into the corner. Kronovo is dumped, the puck goes loose as the horn goes. And the game is over. And the Soviet Union completely overpowering Team Canada. After they battled through a 1-1 first period tie, the Soviets scored 4 goals in the second period. And overall, the Soviets outshot Canada 43-28, including a 17-15 margin in that third period.
Well, Bernie, you can't help wondering, maybe we're slow learners. I don't know what it is, but we have to stay out of the box. We can't get the stupid penalties. We lose the hockey game tonight 8-1. The Soviet Union got 4 power play goals, and I can't help but feel that we just have to stay out of the penalty box, and we have to play even sides, or we even hope to stay with this Soviet team.
And consistent officiating would also help a little too. Here's the Soviet national anthem. is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
Czechoslovakia now has 15 points. Canada 13. The Russians, I'm sorry, let's just double check that. I'm reading the if column. The Czechs have 15.
Did you find us a couple?
14, yeah. Sweden has 12, and Canada has 11. Al Eagleson, we thought we had come from that 11-1 to a new pinnacle, and we were looking for a plane, and when they stayed on the ice, they played to that plane, and I think at points when the lines were working, they outplayed the Russians, but that was... Well, we were playing shorthanded 32 minutes, and I'm surprised that when you play 32 minutes shorthanded against the Russians, that they don't get more than 8.
Well, they got 4 goals on power plays. I think what happened, John, from the team's point of view, we played so well in the first period. Then with a couple of minutes, an unfortunate penalty. I can't blame Vail because the Russian just lined him up from 15 or 20 feet, hit him so hard, his helmet came off. The ref didn't even call a penalty until Vail took the swing, and then he called a double penalty. Only the difference was that it was 2 minutes to Canada and 10 to Canada and 2 minutes to the Soviets. They hung on well. They killed 6 minutes of that 10 minutes penalty, and then boom, 2 goals in 24 seconds, and the roof fell in. You can't blame Tony Esposito. All we can blame is the fact that with the Soviets, you can't get any penalties, whether they're deserved or undeserved, because they're too good a hockey club. We've got to come out now on Sunday and play against the Czechs the way they played against them the last time, and beat them, win the game, and slide into 3rd place.
Well, we slide into 3rd place if we beat the Czechs, of course, Al, and if the Russians either beat or tie the Swedes. Well, that's the way it works.
We should have had a saliva test on the Soviets after the Swedes beat them, because the Swedes aren't even in the same league.
But the question I'd like to ask you, it seems to me that this always happens. I don't just mean now the bad penalties we take, and there were bad penalties tonight, and that's what killed us. The thing that I wonder about is we seem to get up much too high, and we should be calming things down. The players go out there, and they're practically frothing at the mouth.
No, I don't think that's a fair statement, Bill.
You don't?
In the first period, I would say our team played a very disciplined game of hockey. They played very disciplined for the first 5 minutes of the second period. When Yakushev threw in the high one, and then 24 seconds later, demoralization set in, and then suddenly, instead of trying to play a disciplined style, everybody was trying to play catch-up hockey. You take a look at the replays on the 4th goal and the 5th goal for the Soviets. We had the play in their end for about 30 or 40 seconds. Out they come and bounce one in off the side. On the 5th one, Walter McKechnie's floating back after killing a penalty, steal the puck off his stick, and it goes in, and it's 5-1.
What was the reaction around, or I don't know how much time, if you spent any around the dressing room, but what was the feeling before and during the game?
Before the game,
the emotional thing.
I think just as in the Canada Cup, September 11th last year, the high comes when the Russians come to town. And the tough thing to do against the Russians is to keep on a high plane when you don't have the level of ability that's required. And it's we have to be realistic. I don't agree with Serge Savard when he refers to these players as the NHL garbage. I don't think that's a fair comment, and I'm ashamed of him for having said that. But they're certainly not the NHL elite. They do have to dig down deeper and come up with every ounce of their ability and every ounce of their discipline for every minute of each game.
1 minute to conversion.
Well, tell me, Al, you disagree with me in my feeling that they're much too high emotionally. Let me ask you this. How are you going to get them to a plane where they're not going to take stupid penalties? And I don't just mean this series, I mean almost every series we play.
Stupid penalties come out of frustration, and I think we had a lot of frustrated hockey players out there tonight.
But the Russians and the Czechs play the same kind of hockey. Against the Czechs, our wingers just picked up their wingers, went up and down that ice, and threw that puck into that centerman, and they made beautiful hockey.
I think
they played beautiful hockey.
I think if the Czechs had had a 10-minute advantage, we would have fallen apart. I think that the 10-minute penalty broke our hearts. And it's unfortunate because when I talked to this opponent between the periods, he didn't even understand what he had called. He said, oh, it was a deliberate attempt to injure, and he had struck him on the head. And yet it turned out that the strike wasn't on the head.
Do you really think that refereeing beat us tonight?
No, I think that 10-minute penalty demoralized us, and then we gave the game away any chance there was to catch them. They lost. If you don't think that that 10-minute penalty killed us and gave us frustrations, then we weren't watching the same game.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. It's unfortunate that having killed 6 minutes of that, and then...
Could have been a 5-minute penalty.
Right, yeah.
But, look, who knows? We were dead last week, and everybody buried us. We arose, and now we're getting buried again, and everybody will be honest back in Canada. And the frustrating thing is to see these players working as hard as they do, and everybody now is going to say, oh, we're the bad guys and the no goodies, and then we'll just have to try to climb up the ladder again on Sunday and see what we can do.
Well, then everybody should join us. We'll see the highlights of these games tomorrow, and then on Sunday, 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, live across the country, and it'll be Canada and Czechoslovakia. This is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
Okay, John. Now you've got a wrap. You want to talk some more with him? Or do you want to get out in a minute?
I'd like to ask him one question.
Well, we have
one very short question.
We got one. You can go 1 minute.
Just finish on an upbeat note.
Okay,
I just want to finish on an upbeat note. I just want to say, look, if we can win a bronze, much better than anything we considered we could do. Okay.
30 seconds. There's 1 minute altogether, including the billboard cue, John.
Okay, so you've got time to ask the one question, and and then
let you run.
Then I'll answer that.
And I'll
20 seconds.
Short answer. If we're going to do it, we're going to try and
got a
go to the
minute.
bronze. Okay.
It's coming up on the two of you, and you'll have to take it from...
Well, Al, there is one point. As we leave this 8-1 demolishing at the hands of the Soviets, let's face it, nobody thought it'd be this bad again. And that is that we can finish with a bronze, which is third place, and that would be better than anybody had predicted for Team Canada in this World Championship before it started.
We beat the Swedes, we beat the Russians, we tied the Czechs, now we have to beat them. I don't want to see us back into anything. Let's beat the Czechs on Sunday. Let's have a little help from the Russians to beat the Swedes, and we come home with a medal.
Well, one thing about it, win, lose, or whipping, Al always shows up to give us his insight at the end of a hockey game. Al, we appreciate you joining us again at this time. And now, on behalf of Bill and Bernie and Tom and everybody on the gang, this is Johnny Esau reminding you that we'll have our highlights tomorrow of today's game, and this is World Championship Hockey on CTV.
The World Hockey Championships have been brought to you by General Motors of Canada Limited and Carling O'Keefe Breweries. We sincerely hope you've enjoyed the game.
Just a short notice to all CTV stations that although today's game ended earlier than was expected, we will provide additional programming until 6 p.m. Eastern Time, following a 2-minute local timeout.
This is the CTV Television Network.